The Ansett Cup brings new challenges. For many, it is the start of a wonderful journey in this great game we call Australian football. This is round 2 of the Ansett Cup.
Well, perfect conditions over this beautiful city of Melbourne and here at Optus Oval for both players and spectators alike. Welcome to this round 2 clash between Richmond and Melbourne. And it is a lovely day, and for Richmond, a very important day. After losing to Hawthorn last week down in Launceston, they'll be looking to get a win and just see if they can hang in there with a grim opportunity of pushing through. For Melbourne, well, they're in the box seat if they win today, and we're looking forward to seeing what they can produce. With me today is my friend and my mentor, Jason Dunstall. Welcome, Jason.
Thanks, Paul.
Now, it is a big day for particularly the Tigers because they need to get a win on the board.
Yeah, certainly. Looking forward to a good day. As you mentioned, it is perfect conditions. The Tigers, well, all too often they're missing out on the 8-cup premiership season. They probably need to start getting something going during the Ansett Cup. And Melbourne, it'll be interesting to see, for the first time for me anyway, how they progress since a great year last year.
Well, to help us along, Dipper's got Danny Frawley down on the boundary to find out a bit more about today's game.
Yeah, thanks very much, Paul. I'm catching up with a very fit Danny Frawley. Now, Danny, last week it wasn't the best result for you, but you must be very proud of the way your boys handled it.
Yeah, no, the second half was really disappointing. It was a game of 2 halves. The first half we were terrific. We didn't put scoreboard pressure on, and Hawthorn took their opportunities later on.
And how are you handling the Ansett Cup at the moment? Look, you're trying new things out?
Yeah, we're trying a couple of little things out. It's probably disappointing. There's a couple of guys out through injury. Probably, a couple of our better players just to try a couple of things. Maybe Richardson and Fiora, but I think it just, we're out there to win, don't get me wrong, but we're probably trying a few guys under the real heat in certain positions to see if they can really handle it come April 1, and that's what matters. But, we're out here to beat a very good quality opposition today in Melbourne.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, mate.
Good on you, Dip.
Well, Danny Frawley taking the experimental approach there probably after the first round loss, let's face it. But the record in the Ansett Cup, Jason's nothing to rave about over the past few years, mate.
No, it is interesting to hear him say, look, they would like to win, but they are trying some things. We never place too much emphasis on Ansett Cup form, but that record's absolutely dreadful. You would like to at least see some encouraging signs there, but unfortunately for Richmond, there's not a lot to go on at the moment.
Well, they haven't won one for a couple of years, so it's a pretty dramatic sort of record. But let's have a look at their lineup for today, because missing a few key players, but here is the list for today. Not a bad one.
No, it's not. We see the new captain, Wayne Campbell, there. He seems unaffected by the captaincy being thrust upon him.
Totally.
Played very well last week. It is early fish, you're right. Stephen Ziller, it'll be interesting to see him. They always look different in a new jumper.
Yeah.
He'll obviously have a role to do today. And maybe someone like David Burke, we'd love to see him go injury-free throughout the year because he is a very talented player.
Well, he certainly is, and certainly very versatile. The other bloke that has a bit of an upset over summer is with the loss of the captaincy is Matty Knights. Now, we know what a champion he is, Jace, but he seems to be coping pretty well. Yeah, some players were affected differently. We saw Gavin Wanganeen relieved of the burden of the captaincy, and he's playing exciting football already. I don't think the captaincy was ever a burden for Matty Knights. He seemed to thrive on it. He enjoyed it. He was obviously very disappointed. But having said that, I know now that he will give 100% support to Wayne Campbell as the new skipper, and he'll concentrate on doing what he does best, and that's getting plenty of the ball and making sure that he delivers in pretty good fashion to his forwards. Yeah, look, he always leads from the front, doesn't he? So we're looking forward to what he can produce today. Back after the break with a look at the Melbourne Football Club.
At Bunnings Warehouse, we have the lowest home improvement prices every day, which means you can afford to buy more. Like squeeze mop with handle, $7.98. White wire stacker baskets, 2 for $12. 2 40-litre compost bin, $36. 4-litre Wattle Solar Guard Plus, $49.80. 5-metre tape measure, $2.96. If you happen to find a cheaper price on a stocked item, we'll beat it by 10%.
Bunnings Warehouse.
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
The Universal Music Appeal presents Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi in their only Australian show, live at the Colonial Stadium March 24, with a host of special guests including Jimmy Barnes in a massive 5-hour show. Tickets for this special event just $62.60 from Ticketmaster. Bon Jovi live on sale Monday.
Access One memberships at Colonial Stadium are now available. Pay just $66 a month over 10 months for the best seats in the stadium. Only $66 a month, is that right?
Yep, $66 a month, Tony.
For all 43 AFL home and away matches. All of them.
All 43.
With access to a great bar behind the seating, enjoy the dining facilities or have special catering in your seats. It's a great way to entertain clients and close to the action.
For your membership, call Access One on 1300 362 188 now.
Mate, if you're any closer, you'd be playing.
With multiple SMS and SMS chat, you can have fun staying in touch.
These are the rules of the game. Registrations close next Sunday, so grab your friends and form a team. Action Indoor Sports, where actions speak louder than words.
It's a mistake anyone could make.
Got a drunken brawl, defending his wife, and he killed a guy.
No. His time is served. He's taking the first plane home.
Today's flight is a special one.
Alongside the world's deadliest criminals.
What happened?
They got the plane.
Welcome to Con Air.
Buckle up for TV's biggest blockbuster.
Shoot it down. There are innocent people up there.
Nicolas Cage, John Cusack, and John Malkovich. Con Air, tonight on 7.
And here they come, the Tigers hitting the ground today in what can only be described as perfect conditions. You could eat your dinner off the grass down there, Jason, and to make you feel like you want to play again.
Not a bit, Paul, to be quite honest. Quite happy to watch them go out and do battle.
Well, drama's early. The umpires don't appear to have any footballs just yet, so they're never out on the ground. But I'm sure we'll fix that up in the very near future. We have got Neil Danaher, though, down on the boundary with the intrepid Di Domenico.
Now, Neil, last week you travelled to Perth with a good win. Now, how's the week been with the boys?
Yeah, it's been a good week. Travelling to Perth was good. We played them in round 6, so we're able to familiarise ourselves with the ground and the preparation. And no, we've had a good week and should be a good game today.
Are these Ansett Cups very important to a side like Melbourne so they can get some form run into the main season?
Yeah, you know, we want to do well. Last year, I thought it got us going, you know, coming off a poor year, and we got through to the semi-final, and this year, you know, want to do the same thing. We want to try and get through the early rounds, and we've got to get past today and hopefully get into the semi-finals.
It's a case of cross your fingers too, make sure no one gets hurt.
Oh, well, you've got to play games anyway, you know, there's no doubt, but the ground's in great nick here today, so you're playing in good conditions. Not too hot today, you know, so it should be a lot of fun, mate.
Well, you're looking pretty fit, and thanks very much, and good luck for the rest of the Ansett Cup.
You're looking very fit too.
You've been so kind.
Well, Neil Danaher pushing it there a bit, telling Dipper he looks fit, but there's the list for the Melbourne Football Club for today's game, and missing a couple of notable outs there, Jason.
No David Schwartz, no Guy Regoni, they'll miss those, but David Neitz is there. It'll be interesting to see what end of the ground he's used at. Brad Green, young fellow, number 18, who will be looking for up forward, I guess. He's kicked a few goals from the last year. There's a few young players that actually played in the reserves that are out there. Troy Broadbridge is one. Michael Clark, number 17, another. They played the first half in the reserves this morning, so they're backing up. And Jeff White, look, he's probably vying for the number 1 ruckman's position in the league with Stephen King and Matty Allen.
There's no doubt about that. And one other man who is critical to their aspirations this year is this man, Jeff Farmer. Jace, he got off to a flyer, so to speak, last week, didn't he?
Oh, look, it's just sheer genius, the whiz. They've actually gone to great pains, the Demons, to point out that they're not turning him into a midfielder. All they're doing is giving him the odd burst there. What that does is it just releases him a little. It takes away the niggling, tagging defender who's hanging all over him. He gets to have a bit of a run, doesn't quite have the same close-checking opponent on the ball as he would up forward, but primarily his greatest influence, I'm sure, will be around goals, and we can just see it by some of the moves he's putting on here. He just does the unusual, and it seems to work for him. It's absolutely perfect.
It certainly is. Now, if he can become half as dangerous as a midfielder as he is, as we know he is as a forward, then the Demons are one step closer to getting to that grand final this year, you think?
Well, just using him in small roles as a real impact player on the ball, it just could provide them with a bit of spark when they need it.
Well, here are the D's now taking the field. All the boys look in pretty good nick this time of year, don't they? And, well, they got off, as I said earlier, to a good start last week. They really can put themselves in the box seat with a win today for a semi-final berth.
Yeah, look, they'll be pretty confident against the Tigers today. And as you said, a strong win today probably puts them in the box seat for a semi-final berth.
Well, we edge very close to the start of this big game. We'll be back after the break.
At Bunnings Warehouse, we have the lowest home improvement prices every day, which means you can afford to buy more. Like squeeze mop with handle, $7.98. White wire stacker baskets, 2 for $12. 240-litre compost bin, $36. 4-litre Wattle Solar Guard Plus, $49.80. 5-metre tape measure, $2.96. If you happen to find a cheaper price on a stocked item, we'll beat it by 10%.
Bunnings Warehouse.
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
Here's a healthy snack your kids will actually want to eat. Today, Brand Power looks at Yoplait Go-Gurt, real fruit yoghurt in tubes. Unlike most other kids' yoghurts, there's no messy spoon. Just tear the top off and eat. They can be frozen so they're ready to eat at school lunchtime, and they're available in 4 great flavours: strawberry, fruit salad, apricot and raspberry. For a delicious and convenient snack kids love, look for Yoplait Go-Gurt in your supermarket dairy case now. Brand Power, helping you buy better.
When you're having a quiet month, with other mobile networks, you'd normally lose your unused included monthly calls. But with Optus Yes rollover plans, you won't. You get up to 3 months to use them. So if you're on the Optus Yes rollover plan with $30 of included calls and only use $15, next month you'll have $45 of included calls to use when things get really busy. Why pay for your unused calls? Join Optus now.
$6 million Australians run out of milk every week. But with Devondale Long Life milk, they'd never run out at all. Store it in the pantry, keep some in the fridge, and you'll never run out of milk again.
Life is changing so fast, it's scary. But you only get one chance. So what are you waiting for? Go into business for yourself. Laugh. Get a part in a play. Get on the internet and buy some shares for your kids. Give it your best shot.
I know where Mr. Montgomery is.
The secret's out.
I'm meeting my lady friend.
What's Kitty to do?
We've been getting along so well. Don't you think you should go to Edward and let him know how you feel? You're right.
Whoa, hey!
All new Dharma and Greg.
I'm Kevin, and this is my wife, Jody.
Was that 2 men or 2 women?
Then Jack's joined a club.
This is a cult, like the homeless. They're trying to make gay people straight.
These people are freaks.
But have they converted Jack? All new Will and Grace, tonight on 7.
Richmond kicked the highest ever score in night series history in strange circumstances against Western Australian side Swan Districts back in 1982. Angered at 2 date changes and the VFL's refusal to play the game in Perth, coach John Todd sent a team with an average age of just 19. Michael Roach kicked 10 goals from 10 kicks as the Tigers booted 32 goals 16 to just 4 goals 4.
And this time, Michael Roach, 10 goals coming up. It'll be the easiest 10 goals he's ever got in his life. 10 goals to Michael Roach in a quarter and a bit of football.
Well, the Ansett Cup, Jason, has a history of some funny goings-on, of course, and what was Toddy thinking? Average age 19.
Some familiar faces there, Maurice Rioli for one, and what about Michael Roach, old Disco, 10 from 10?
And loving it. I think he was playing on a 14-year-old. And speaking of youth, it's time now for the Ansett Future Flyers.
Ansett's Future Flyers.
And our first future flyer today, Scott Thompson.
Yeah, he's an interesting one. Another one that played the first half in the reserves today. You can see there, picked up at selection 16 in the 2000 national draft. A pretty skillful midfielder, they tell us. He played in Port Adelaide's under-19s and reserves over there. Also represented South Australia in the under-18 championships. So he's no stranger to the big time, and he'll be looking to make an impact today.
He certainly will. And, well, they're strengthening their midfield a bit, aren't they? Recruiting these hard-running players. A trend happening at Melbourne.
Well, it could be something they're looking to gain an advantage over the other sides and a bit of midfield strength.
Well, we are saved.
We've got footballs.
We have found some footies. We can play some football. And as a matter of fact, we're back after this break to join the action.
Here's a great option for internet fans. Telstra offers a flat rate of just $24.95 per month. $24.95 a month for Telstra Big Pond? That has to be tempting.
These are the rules of the game. Registrations close next Sunday, so grab your friends and form a team. Action Indoor Sports, where actions speak louder than words.
At Bunnings Warehouse, we have the lowest home improvement prices every day, which means you can afford to buy more. Like squeeze mop with handle, $7.98. White wire stacker baskets, 2 for $12. 240-litre compost bin, $36. 4-litre Wattle Solar Guard Plus, $49.80. 5-metre tape measure, $2.96. If you happen to find a cheaper price on a stocked item, we'll beat it by 10%.
Bunnings Warehouse.
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
Great party, although I had no idea it was fancy dress. There's Lenny the Lion. Hi, fantastic costume. And Susie the Hyena. Wow. However, there's no disguising the unique taste of Schweppes. Ah, perfection. Hello, dear. Care for a drink?
It's me, George.
Cleaner, crisper Schweppes. Just a little more bite.
Well, only moments away now from the opening bounce as David Neitz has just won the toss and has decided to kick to the left of screen. There's not much weather elements that are going to affect today's play. And joining us now, Anthony Hudson, welcome.
Thank you, Paul. Good afternoon, everyone. Beautiful conditions, isn't it, for footy? And I guess a bit of pressure on the Tigers after their indifferent form last week, but lots of young kids in. We'll get a good look and see how they go this afternoon.
We certainly will, and we welcome again Dipper down on the boundary.
Yeah, thanks very much, Paul. Doing a great job up there. And Anthony, wish you the best of luck. I understand
thanks.
This is your first time you're calling for Channel 7 here at Optus Sable.
It is, actually.
I can tell you all the kicks I had here. You want to go through them now?
No.
Had one.
After the show, mate.
But as you mentioned, Paul, look, it is a little breezy down here, as expected here at Optus Sable. So it does keep the conditions down here quite cool. Not like Canberra yesterday. But Richmond do look a bit stronger on paper. But we know the D's got a very, very young side, and we'll see how these two sides venture. So good luck, boys, and I'll keep you up to date with everything happening down here.
Thanks very much, Dipper. And Dipper's got a short memory, Jason, because he took me out right down the middle here at Optus Sable many, many years ago, and he's never let me forget about it. So, but he's right. It's an interesting balance between the two sides today, so we can anticipate a pretty good contest.
And the first positive that we can actually say for the Demons is that David Neitz is starting forward. He's been used in key defensive roles at various times, but it looks like he's going to line up at full forward. Also, Troy Simmons playing deep in the forward line.
Gives him a pretty potent forward line, doesn't it? I think a lot of Demon supporters are much happy with David down there.
Well, Neitz actually looks more like a centre-half forward, and Troy Simmons operating out of the square.
And Gasper with the job on David Neitz this afternoon.
Be a good contest, won't it, those two?
Melbourne winning the toss. And Jeff White in the ruck against Ottens. Interesting little tactic used by the Tigers. We'll get back to that in a moment. At that ruck contest, Bowden with a chance to clear it. And, well, he cleared it all right. Huge race on for it now. Daffy, who's had a very good summer. Demons through Brown, can go forward. Woden, see him back in action. Neitz leading, able to quite take the mark. Bitterscombe coming in from the side. And we'll see a bounce. Interesting, at that opening bounce, Ray Hall seemed to hold off Swartz, hold off the Melbourne ruckman White.
Yes.
While Ottens came in to try and knock the ball out.
Well, this is a problem because we do have a bit of a loophole in the rule where there's no designated ruckman, so we've got to be very careful how much it gets exploited. And of course, there's only a few weeks to go of this rule, so. But it's interesting now they're getting more accustomed to it, Jason, that they might try and just bend it a little bit.
Always trying to look after the ruckman, aren't you?
Well, he actually introduced the rule in his role on the Rules Committee.
Oh, they were getting too many bruises, Hutto.
And then they've given him the flick, I understand, from the Rules Committee. So anyway, we'll follow that.
Gave you 5 minutes to start on me, and it's taken 2.
We'll follow that one with interest. He's trying to get back on it, I understand. Campbell working to Bowden, who goes out to the outer side. Uze and Chaffey. Must be a free. I must say Uze didn't make much of an effort to grab the ball, but he probably played it pretty well then. Chaffey just didn't quite know exactly where the footy was and was forced to tackle.
Well, it's clever footy. You can't take possession when you're under that sort of pressure and expect to make a cover, get a clean disposal from it.
Robertson, well, he can kick a long way, but he doesn't try and score a goal. Instead, sets it up, but it didn't make it through to Beams. And Callaway getting back to take the mark. Bitterscombe, as the Tigers, most of his options up the ground were manned up, so he just went very wide to the boundary line, to the wing, looking for Mills. Good work from Mills. Rogers well tackled though by Walsh. Under pressure. Good work out of here by Lamb. Wobbly old one back to the wing. Plenty of Demons then. Another man who's changed numbers this year, Daniel Ward, takes it. A low kick up to full forward. Big leap from Simmons. Good work coming through. Robertson can straighten from there. Well, he didn't straighten, did he? Enough. And
well, he had a couple of better options, Hutto. He could have handballed, but more importantly, he had Jeff Farmer with his arms wide open in disbelief as he was ignored 20 metres out directly in front. All he had to do was chip it over.
And we see the Tiger bench there, boys. Hilton, Pettifer, Broderick, Steinfer, Zilla and Hayes.
So the Tigers now Campbell under a fair bit of pressure across their half-back line. White doing pretty well, the Demons there. Brown's quick kick doesn't go as far as they would have liked. Cameron, it is, relieving for the Tigers. And getting them moving out to half-back. Bowden easing into a pass. Chaffey was one of the targets, but it wasn't a good kick. And straight away the Demons go through. Wheatley up to full forward. Simmons couldn't take it. And scrap for it. Bounce the result.
Could be a day out for guys like Brad Green and Jeff Farmer in the forward line with Simmons down their end. Neitz both contesting well early, and if they're not marking, they bring it to the front of the pack. So plenty of opportunities if they can just get the ball inside 50 enough today, the D's.
Burke doing the ruck work down there for Richmond against Simmons, who has discarded the 46 for number 11 this year. Snap at goal, well off the mark from Beams.
And Hutto, I'll give you the bench for the Demons. Scott Thompson, Broadbridge, Phoebe, Stephen that is, Shaywa Woden staying on the bench, Cameron Bruce and Jay Clark, Michael J. Clark.
Melbourne by 2, doing all the early attacking so far. The Tigers forwards really haven't had a chance yet. Callaway's kick is low, tough for Gaspar, very tough. And Ward slipping in, takes the mark. Again, straight to full forward. Robertson, the target, and Simmons. Robertson in front all the way. Read it beautifully.
Good work. Very good work by Troy Simmons on that occasion. He just held the pack back. He knew that his teammate was in prime position, Russell Robertson. He had front spot, and he basically made it look like he was going for the mark without actually going for it and protected his teammates back.
And you've got to do that. It was a very clever play, very disciplined. So good to have a big fella down there, conscious of his blokes and players around him in better positions. Interesting already, Jason, to see that teams are flooding back aggressively still, but a lot of the attack seems to be into the corridor, about 20, 30 out from goal. And if it's not taken, the mark's not taken, the pressure's on.
Well, what a shocking start in front of goal by Melbourne. We've seen this a bit, haven't we, in the first couple of weeks, various teams.
I guess it's something you have to come to expect. I mean, obviously the aggression, the attitude, the emotions there early on in the season, but the touch and the skills just not quite there. Particularly the goal kicking has been very poor over the first couple of weeks. And already we've got a problem with one of the footballs. We saw them getting pumped up just prior to the match because they didn't have them.
Don't tell me they've been tampered with as well.
Oh, who knows? But that one maybe didn't have enough air in it.
No.
And that provides Russell Robinson with a pretty good excuse for missing the first shot, doesn't it?
Either that or he flattened it. Maybe that explains all of Melbourne's first 3 behinds. Bowden. Well, it also gave time for Melbourne to get their zone exactly right, didn't it? In the end, he had to kick very quickly off one step. Had 2 Melbourne players, Green and Williams, able to raffle it between them.
A good space to lead into. Beautiful lead.
Well, Green's kick just wasn't quite right. Just Beams now trying to rove as he gets through. After Bitterscombe was who came in to interfere. Palmer rushed over the line by Campbell.
He did extremely well, Craig Bitterscombe. He left his opponent and he actually made a good contest against Russell Robinson, who'd led into a little hole of space beautifully. You see good aggression there.
Oh, it's good.
The Wiz getting a bit of attention.
He's got the ball too, quickly kicking it forward. And it all seems a bit easy at the moment for the Melbourne forwards. Pitt taking the mark. And he's another one who, well, he's had a few different clubs and efforts to come across and play AFL footy, and last year he didn't quite get it all together, but he was there or thereabouts and was, I think, in the 24 or so for the grand final, but didn't quite make the final lineup.
Well, obviously highly regarded enough to keep on getting an opportunity, so if he looks after himself, you know, the opportunity's there for him, the space on this side.
Can he convert? Finally, we've got a goal. No.
Exactly the same spot and exactly the same result as Russell Robinson's kick.
And exactly not the same ball.
Well, just talking about the balls there, boys, I just checked with the umpires in. The PSI data is
Pounds
that
per
all
square inch
balls...
pressure.
Thank you. All balls should be pumped up around about 12, and the last one that we saw Russell Robinson kick was at 9. That's why they changed it over. He thought it was a bit flat.
Well, next week, bring your PSI gauge with you, Dipper? It'll help us all.
It could be part of your pre-match ground report. Tigers through Bitterscombe and now Cameron. Can they get it over their centre line? I guess that's the question. Bowden should be able to here. Goes very short. And the umpire calls play on. Well, tough for Mills there. Crowd obviously didn't like it, and particularly didn't like it, the Tiger fans, when the free kick was paid to Melbourne. Amusing there to see a Melbourne player on the mark. He thought he was actually going to be on the mark, but a free kick actually going Melbourne's way. Now they've got another scoring opportunity down there. Pitt was 39. Farmer stayed down. This time he's very quick to handball over to Robertson. He wanted it back. Robertson kicked a goal. It was a messy old kick, but it's done the job.
Every year, there are over 2,400 deaths or injuries in residential streets across Victoria. So the speed limit is now 50 kilometres per hour. There's a damn good reason to stick to it.
So Melbourne dominating this match in terms of how often they've had the ball and had the ball in their forward line. On the scoreboard, their lead is just 10 points. Can the Tigers get something going? Campbell to centre half forward. Well, that's better. Better build up. Daffy, low kick. Wasn't a great kick. Brown was very strong. Mark all free kick to Nathan Brown.
Great play.
Walsh making space on the wing. Williams with the shepherding. Walsh nowhere to really go, so he just holding up play and eventually getting the handball across, but Ward's handball back, and now Williams can take it away.
Oh, big shepherd. That's gone against Jeff Farmer. And I think he's going to get reported for this.
Did you see it, Jase?
No, I didn't. I just saw when he got up, the umpire came in, he was tapping his back pocket like he was going to reach for the book.
It was a shepherd.
Here we go. And you can see them. You can see them all having. Oh yeah. Just caught him around the hip, I think. And he has had his number taken.
And Daffy coming off the ground. Looks like he's got a bad hip injury there. Jason's just called.
Yep.
Well, if that doesn't bleed a little bit, then nothing will. That was a big hit.
He should spark the Tigers. Very bad timing, wasn't it, really, from Farmer as much as anything. And that's a pretty good kick.
Well, it's a funny thing, aggression. Aggression's good as long as it's controlled aggression. You've got to use it the right way. Do it when the ball's about, and it's got to be fair contact. And unfortunately, on that occasion, it wasn't.
Hilton's replaced Daffy.
Oh, that's a poor start from Rogers behind.
I want to take it back a little bit to the centre bounce issue you raised earlier, Hutto. It is a bit of a concern. Hall continues to do it. Here we see on the boundary, he's going to have to stretch that a fair bit. But it's a concern. Although there's no dedicated or delegated ruckman, you still can't block a player's approach to the ball. And you can't make contact with the ruckman prior to the ball being bounced. So
I guess what he could argue that he's doing is that he's actually going to contest the ruck, and then his teammate comes over the top.
Well,
gets to the front, couldn't take the mark. Good work through from Hilton. Tigers under a lot of pressure, aren't they, all over the ground at the moment. Campbell going to ground. Finally gets some support. Hall, Chaffey, by hand out wide. Mills, low kick, wasn't a great kick at all. And a pretty easy defensive mark in the end for the Demons. Taken by Nicholson and quickly involves Ward, who kicked that one, tried to angle it back to Jeff White, but Knight's got in the road. And now we see Hall coming through again. A shocking kick again into attack. Finally, though, Tivendale, usually pretty deadly, off the left. And he is on this occasion. And the Tigers finally get one.
Ansett's new e-check-in is the quick and easy way to grab your boarding pass. You can even choose where you sit. Or where you don't. It's another first from Ansett.
Well, Nick Daffy still recovering from the Jeff Farmer bump. Otten's grabbed it. Now, this time they have paid the free. They have paid the free at the centre bounce for the interference.
That's gone against that Ray Hall. They caught him that time.
Yep.
You can't hold him before the ball's been bounced.
White getting the kick. Gasper comes in and just read the ball beautifully there. Just got the run of it, took it out. And young Williams, who was in front, would be just a little disappointed. Gasper using his, I guess, experience and edge of experience there to take it out. So Melbourne 1-4, Richmond 1-1. Gasper doing the ruck work. Bowden was not on his natural kicking boot, but did pretty well with the right to advance 40 or so metres. White had it smashed away from him by Hilton, who's got the extra strong bleach this year, and the ball out of bounds.
Well, where Melbourne have got a bit of an edge with the height and size in their team is that these ball up and boundary throwing contests. Neat's very accomplished in that area. And of course, White around the ground.
Time Hall doing the ruck work against White. Tough for Williams. Godfrey wrapped up. And eventually Knights, who also has had a very good pre-season, involved Campbell on the end of it. Open goal, and it looks to be headed that way. So the Tigers in front, unbelievably.
At Bunnings Warehouse, we have the lowest home improvement prices every day, which means you can afford to buy more. Like assorted house keys, 2 for $7. Arlic double PowerPoint, $8.46. Insulco R3 Fat Pats, $20.50. Mains Voltage downlight kit, $59.88. Kinnear's Gutter Guard, $1.90. If you happen to find a cheaper price on a stocked item, we'll beat it by 10%.
Bunnings Warehouse.
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
So Richmond in front here by 3 points. Getting towards the midway stage of the opening quarter. Sunday football, the Ansett Cup, week 2. Tigers losing last week, Demons winning. Richmond suddenly with a burst, but Campbell gang tackle and the bounce to result.
It only takes a free kick, doesn't it, to to stop things sometimes, and Hall wasn't quite so zealous or overzealous in that centre bounce just then.
It's good to see Matthew Knight's enabled to play in the middle and also forward, because in the past years, because of his injuries, he had to play up the half-back line.
Well, he has, as I mentioned, trained very hard over the summer, despite the disappointment of being replaced as captain. It's really fired him on. Hall got a good kick too. Penetration. Long one to full forward. Really put them under pressure down there. Free kick.
I'm going to tell you, Jason, wouldn't you have loved a few of those?
Oh, well, look, it's something they're doing this year. The umpires are paying very close scrutiny to the one-on-one contests.
Well, he got a bit of jumper, though. He did get a bit of jumper.
He actually had the arms around him. He was, I guess, retarding him to some degree, but, gee, in years gone by, that was just a very clean contest, wasn't it?
I know it's a new rule, mate, but they would put you in the half Nelson before you got a free kick.
Rogers should convert. Does his best to miss, but gets it.
Well, they're there. I mean, it's could be considered a pretty soft 6 points, but that's the rule, and certainly the umpires have got a job ahead of them, Jason, defining or drawing that line between what constitutes a hold.
The most important thing when you get one like that is to make sure you convert, because you don't normally get them. So make the most of it, and well done to Matthew Rogers. They've unearthed another scoring option in him playing forward. We've seen him used in many roles in recent times.
On behalf of all the full-backs through the 80s and early 90s,
they'll be cringing.
Let's be thankful that they didn't bring that rule in, because imagine how many goals Dunstall and Lockett and Ablett would have kicked if you weren't allowed to hang on to them. It'd be frightening to think about it. Suddenly the momentum with the Tigers. Again, Bowden forced to go off the right, and then, well, he didn't do quite as good a job that time. Bitterscombe under pressure, and that just shows how good it is to have someone who can kick equally well on the right and left. That was over the shoulder.
Oh, gee, that's a tough one, because he ducked straight into him as he came in, didn't he? He actually turned into him and ducked his head.
Well, he had very few options available to him, and he did the right thing, but he's putting himself in a bit of a precarious position there.
Probably one of those where Ottens just needed to back off and not charge in as aggressively.
Corral him.
Brown in a bit of space now.
Too far.
Too much space. Well, KB, I heard yesterday, very critical of players for bouncing the ball too early. I wonder how far he actually ran here. Yeah, he ran a fair way.
Nick Daffy jogging around the boundary line, which is actually an encouraging sign for the Tigers, looking pretty free of that injury that was troubling him.
Cameron goes short out wide. Hall, gee, hasn't he been prominent so far? Ray Hall, good distance again on the kick. He's a rangy long left footer. This time Nicholson judged it best, taking the mark. And out to Ben Beams. Up to the wing, Williams. Promising player for Melbourne. Certainly last year had some injury problems, but played some good footy for Sandringham. White pushing forward, but...
Oh, brilliant.
David Burke.
He's got some talent, this bloke.
Could have got a free if then not the mark.
He's got plenty of talent. And really what Jeff White has to do today with Hall running with him needs to, once he sees Hall's got away from him, break to the other side of the ground, break the play up, give himself some space and wear Hall down a bit, because it's going to be a long day for the young fella.
And obviously, Hall doing the running with White, Ottens taking the centre bounces and then pushing forward. Ottens is almost within range if he really got onto it. We've seen some big kicks to that end. He didn't even try and shoot at goal. Hilton was touched off the boot. Hilton did very well to get quickly to his feet after taking what would have been a mark. Unfortunately, lets himself down with the kick, but the Tigers, after a pretty ordinary start, are 10 points in front. I'm sure Danny Frawley would be a lot happier than he would have been about 10 minutes ago.
Oh, he would be. We saw this yesterday in a fluctuating game with the Kangaroos and the Saints, and today, again, the momentum seems to be with one side for a few minutes and then with the other. I'm sure it's not a trend starting in football, Jason, but it's interesting how it can swing.
Big leap from Nicholson, not able to take it. Alton's over the top. Williams in there as well. Simmons all scrapping for it. The Demons have certainly decided to get some promotions with their numbers, haven't they? All the ones who are in the 40s have gone up into the 10s. There's one of them, Troy Simmons, from 46 to 11. Nicholson's gone from 44 to 8.
Well, there's very few players, I know Johnny Platten always liked 44, but there's very few that go with the big numbers.
Robertson takes it away. Good distance on the kick this time. Pitt backing back, couldn't take it. Got some support, Green's handball. Good idea. Beams just couldn't handle it. Free kick though, little tap over the shoulder. And Gasper can't believe it now.
Well, you just have to put your body on the line in the forward line, stay over the ball, and maybe the odds or percentages are with you.
Let's have a look. He actually spilt the ball.
Oh, dear, man.
Fair dinkum.
Well, talk about odds.
I think I'll reserve comment on that decision.
Just checking there, and no, it's not umpire Jeff Twitt, the umpire this time.
If you haven't got something nice to say, don't say anything at all. Isn't that what they tell me?
There's the shot. Wish you'd live by that. Beams kicks and converts.
Tonight.
I understand she's got a problem.
Oh, she has a problem.
Does your pet suffer from vacuum-ritis? Fear of the vacuum cleaner.
She hates it.
Well, she certainly doesn't like it much.
How to cure a case that really sucks. All new Harry's Practice tonight.
Then at 7.
If you thought the weakest link was tough,
Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
then this Sunday's Pop Stars is a shocker.
You just didn't quite make it.
I'm a no.
Only 1 in 4 will get through, and not everyone will agree.
No offence, but that's not what it's all about.
Pop Stars tonight at 7.
There's Neil Danaher watching on, and just in fairness to the Twitt family, their umpire there was actually Adam Davis.
You've been harsh of late, I know.
Oh, come on. Oh, dear. Out of the middle. Suddenly it's a very tight contest again. Rogers, Bowden, cleared a path for himself, and again unloading. Tivendale could prop here and might be able to take it. Did well. And as I've said before, we know him as a very good kick, normally off the left.
Nothing beats a good long kick,
quick kick
to the favourite side of your teammate out of the midfield.
Well, that seems to be the game plan that the Tigers are sticking to. Once they win the ball in the middle, they're not mucking around with the short passes. They're going long into the corridor, and the forwards know where the ball's going to go. And they're trying to put themselves in the front position, which is what Tivendale did.
And from 50, he also misses. So it's all about square at the end of, we come towards the end of the quarter. Still 4 minutes to go. 3-3 playing 2-4.
It's been a good quarter so far. We've seen some good footy, some good movement into each forward line. But a quarter of 2 halves, Jason.
Where did you produce that from?
Where you got nip and tuck from.
Well, being held up there. Uze was the target, but good running from Torn. He made the spoiled Knights, quickly flipping the handball. Now Tivendale again. He just kicked the point. This time he straightens up and kicks his second.
Bother Boy Botham.
I love this man.
He stole this Aussie mum's heart
Restaurants, wine and Learjets.
and left her broke. She dumped him, but he just can't leave her alone.
I'll get used by him. 36 messages where I was, what I was doing.
Plus, they're killing your car.
Really quite an alarming result.
High performance hocus pocus costing you a bomb.
I was in shock.
On Today Tonight.
So the Tigers, as we get towards quarter time, handy little lead for them again. Otten's come over the top. Lovely tap down to Rogers. Great stuff. Inside 50. Tigers really threatening here. Tivendale again lurking. Nicholson wanted it more in the end, able to get it away. And Wheatley's kick up to half forward. Now Melbourne perhaps can create something. Beams. Woden back on the ground. We saw him sitting down for a while. Bitterscombe. Oh, again, he ran into trouble. He just held onto it too long. Was a bit lucky in the end. Chaffee took it out. I think that's what he wanted to do in the end. They got themselves into all sorts of trouble.
Good poise there from a senior player in Chaffee. Just saying, well, there's nothing on and offer downfield. And very smartly took it over the boundary.
4-3 playing 2-4. It's a pretty clever tap from Neitz, except it went straight to an opposition player instead of a teammate. Brown coming charging through. Williams again, been pretty busy. Got a little bit of a crunch there from Zilla. All's fair, says the umpire. Robertson, oh, he hurt himself, I think, as he went up for that one. And he gets up with a little bit of a limp, his ankle.
Well, he doesn't mind throwing himself into the contest and going for the marks. Oh, how do you do?
Stephen Zilla playing his second game in Tiger colours. Gasper. Neitz again, pushing it to the front. Uze maybe got one over the shoulder. Chaffee just bundling it and working it.
Good news for the Tiger supporters. Nick Daffy doing some sprints up and down the boundary line here, so we could see him back on the ground shortly.
That'll be a real problem for the Demons because...
Well, he's actually rested now, but he has been doing sprints.
The bottom line is the Demons are getting killed around the contest at the moment, and if they bring some more midfield power on, that's going to create extra problems for the Demons.
Oh, great interception from Bowden. He just had nowhere to go. Unfortunate. That must be in the back. No, not in the back. Well, Brown certainly had Knights sitting on his back there.
He's in an aggressive mood, Matty Knights.
Yeah.
Look, the momentum did carry him forward, but it seemed to be a pretty effective tackle. I'm quite happy with the decision to let play go on.
Yeah, very good decision.
Well, as long as they're consistent on that one, Jason, that's all. Bowden doing the ruck work against Woden. And he's doing the roving as well. So Tigers able to go forward. Again, Rogers presenting himself pretty well. Tawney.
Great tackle.
Well wrapped up. Rogers, again, doing pretty well, but Ward able to get the clear and kick after the Brown handball. Good shoving from Bitterscombe. And then he made a very clean spoil. Campbell, straight for the boundary line. So last minute and a half here.
Well, we spoke about Jeff Farmer before the match, and he is being used on the ball at the moment. Just in a little burst. They are struggling around the packs, and as we speak, he's actually just making his way back into the forward line.
Being reported can sometimes unsettle a bloke, can't it? And he started off very promisingly, just had a bit of a fade, but there's a lot of footy left in this game.
Well, free kick to Woden, and Stephen Ziller running with him. Williams with the kick. We'll watch that little battle with interest. The Taggers are going to have to watch out about hanging on and blocking this year because the umpires are going to be hot on it. Green wrapped up.
Well,
First possession for Shane Woden.
Yep. Well, it's a very smart observation. And some good wrap-ups there with the tackling too, pinning the arms, not letting the ball free. Yeah, that's fantastic play by Neitz.
Terrific stuff to get it down to full forward where Jeff White was resting. Hall was all over him. Here's Farmer from the boundary. Green with the sit, Bitterscombe, Campbell in front. Bitterscombe just trying to hack it, and eventually Campbell kicks it through.
He might have been a bit stiff, Jeff White. Hall was wearing him like the proverbial cheap suit, wasn't he? All over him. And I think Demons fans were saying, well, if you paid one at the other end, that one should have been paid.
Well, I was going to say a beautiful kick in. It was well spotted, but in the end, the execution wasn't quite perfect. Steinfort got the ball forward for the Demons. Hilton, for the Tigers. Hilton with about 30 seconds to go in the quarter. Goes very wide, just a little too wide. It bounced, though, and we'll see a throw in. So they've still got time, but only just about 20 seconds to try and score something at the end of this opening quarter.
See all the space being set up around this contest now behind. It'll be interesting to see what Richmond try to pull out of the bag here, over the back.
Ottens. Williams it is, though, that takes it away. Been a promising opening quarter. A little lucky there, perhaps, to find Uze as he did.
Great
Plenty
kick.
of space for Neitz to run into. About 75 from goal as he'll look up. Gets the lead from White. Oh, unfortunately, the time beating him. And Richmond would be pretty happy, I would think, at quarter time after Melbourne dominated the opening passage of play but couldn't convert.
No, Danny probably be very pleased with the opening quarter, bouncing back as they did. So at quarter time, we have Richmond 4 goals for 28, Melbourne 2-4, 16.
Are there treatments for hereditary hair loss?
Plenty.
Do any of them work?
This one does.
Convince me.
It's the only one that's medically proven and also available without a prescription.
Will it work for me?
It works in 4 out of 5 cases.
What's it called?
Regain. And with new extra strength Regain, you'll know if it works in just 8 weeks.
How can I find out more?
Phone 1300 650 053 or your pharmacist will advise whether Regain is suitable for you.
Welcome to this exciting final trial of the new Kellogg's Goldies. Tough field this, and they're off. Young Tyler dives straight into the Honey Goldies, goodness of wheat and scrummy honey. Up the top, Apps is making a move on the Sultana Goldies. Oh, they're just lapping these up. And here's Dawn Fraser racing through with the whole wheat. Sensational. She's dishing it up to them, just like she did back in '64. They're nearly finished now, in record time too. It's gold, gold, Goldies for young Australia.
Well, quarter time here. Round 2 Ansett Cup football. Richmond versus Melbourne on a glorious Melbourne afternoon. It's Richmond 4 goals 3, 27. On top of Melbourne at the minute, 2 goals 5, 17. And a pretty spirited opening quarter there by both teams. But Melbourne, Jason, asserting themselves, particularly through the midfield as the quarter wore on.
Yeah, well, look, I think in actual fact the takeaways around the ground, it was the Tigers who dominated. And you can just see here, we can see young Ray Hall from the Tigers, number 20. He's actually not the ruckman. What he's doing is interfering with Jeff White, and Ottens is coming unimpeded from the other side over the top and winning all the taps, and they killed them in the middle, the Tigers. And in the end, he only got pinged once, Hall, but it was a very effective tactic. Now, whether the umpire gets the rule right or not, the bottom line there is that somebody from Melbourne has to come in and make sure that Hall isn't allowed to interfere with Jeff White and make sure they have an equal contest at the throw-ups.
That's exactly. Well, here's a membership. Membership drive for the Tigers. Well, what type of Tiger are you? Can you become a true Tiger in 2001? Like a Tiger. 1300 136 605 is the number.
Grr.
So get your Richmond membership and get on board with the Tigers in season 2001.
Yep.
That ruck contest, getting back to it, Jason, look, I've got a bottom line problem with it. Making contact prior to the ball being bounced is my first problem. Second problem is to counter it. Well, Melbourne can do exactly the same thing to the Richmond ruckman. And, of course, Melbourne, Jeff White should bring it more to the attention of the umpire, I think.
Yep. And to his teammates.
And to his teammates.
But why, when you made the changes to the rules, Paul, on the rules committee,
yes,
did you not have a designated person as the ruckman? Wouldn't that solve it?
I think someone called it tea break around that time. We're getting to that very point.
That's disgraceful.
We were distracted.
You're ruining the game.
No, not really. We're trialling a very effective rule during the Ansett Cup. And at this point in time, it has been rather effective. Arguably rather effective, but that is exploiting it now. There is a loophole, and if this rule has got a future, it needs to be addressed.
But that is the nature of this game, though. The teams look at the rules, and everybody tries to work a way around them to gain an advantage, don't they?
Exactly right, Jace. Well, on the boundary, we have Dipper.
I certainly have Darren Crocker with me, Paul. I'm not quite sure if you'll be impressed with that first quarter, but give us your thoughts on that first quarter.
Yeah, no, we were pretty happy with the style of play. You know, a lot of the stuff that we've been trying to get the guys to carry out throughout the pre-season. I think when we did go forward, we went forward with a fair bit of purpose and used the ball pretty well. But you know, Melbourne jumped us early with, I think they went inside 57 times before we went inside 50. So, but I thought our intensity really picked up as the quarter went on.
And you converted at the right times in front of goal, but also two players. Matthew Knights, good to see him back on the ball in the forward line. He's just a, what do you call him, an angry player, isn't he?
Oh, look, Knight has had a terrific pre-season, and, you know, by his own standards, he's probably say it's been the best one for 4 or 5 years for him. So, you know, he's really setting himself up for a big year.
And Ray Hall is very impressive that first quarter.
Yeah, look, Ray's it's his 3rd year at the club, and he's really ready to step up. And you know, obviously, we all know Jeff White's strengths of being fairly mobile and athletic. So we felt that Razor could be promoted and be the person to run with him.
And just talk about your pre-season. Everyone does look strong and fit and ready to go.
Yeah, look, it has been pretty good. Still got a few injury concerns at the moment, but hopefully come round 1, most of them will be back and playing, and yeah, hopefully looks good for the Tigers.
And good to see you still enjoying it too.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Go on, thanks for joining us. Go on, Darren.
Well, good on you, Dipper. Another probing interview there with Darren. And Darren Crocker, every right to be pretty pleased with the Tigers and their thrust forward. They've been pretty effective going inside 50. As we wait, the bounce, the players go back into position.
Well, I think certainly from a Melbourne point of view, we'll be looking for changes in the centre square. That's where they're losing the game. And if they can't assert some sort of ascendancy, and it's probably going to take more than just the odd run from Jeff Farmer in the middle, they're going to need a change of tactics, maybe some personnel changes to stop the drive coming out of the Tigers midfield, because if they keep pumping the ball forward that often, they will run away with this game.
As the players take their spot on the bench, ground being cleared. There's Nick Daffy. Well, looks like he's ready to go.
Good news that he's back on the ground.
Take up position in the forward line for the Tigers. That'll sting a bit tomorrow morning, though. A good knock to the hip, resulting in Jeff Farmer being reported early in that first quarter.
So 4-3 to 2-5 as we start the second term. And again, we see Hall close to White. Now Melbourne have got someone close to Otten, so 4 ruckmen going for the ball. That's the salmon rule, everybody, as the ball goes forward. Inside 50 for the Tigers. Tivendale coming at it, Brown over the top.
There's 20 people on the rules committee.
Mills, we all know you're the power broker. That's where they plan to get rid of you. The ball close to the line. Ward working towards it and not quite able to get it over in the end. Godfrey in there as well. Williams with a handball. Taffy threw that away. Umpire let it all go. Quick kick from Daffy. Not much there for the Tigers. Brown running back with the flight did well. And Nathan Brown taking the mark across half back. Another one will have an important year. He got a shocking collision. From memory, it was at Colonial Stadium about round 16 or 17 last year, which he didn't really recover from that well. Rogers takes the mark with it just too far out from goal. Virgil leading for the Tigers, number 37, and Otten's in good position. And that is what Brad Otten's can do so well when he is on his game. His marking and judgment is magnificent.
And again, the Tigers are sticking to that pattern of moving the ball as quickly as they can with a long kick into the attacking part of their forward 50. Well, you can see Matty Rogers, he marked it deep on the flank, tight angle, just turned onto his left foot, kicked it long and high into that passage about 30 metres out directly in front. And Brad Otten's, when he has a run at the ball, there are very few that can match him leap for leap.
Well, that's the key there. Alistair Nicholson just lost contact there with Brad and gave Brad every chance of positioning himself well. And he should not miss, dare I say it, from here.
Comes off the Michael Holding run-up, doesn't he?
Well, he'll kick from about 35. He looked like he might have just pushed it to the left off the boot, and he has. Well, that is a pretty bad miss. We saw Melbourne miss mainly to the right down there at that end. The Lygon Street end of the ground. Magnificent day for footy, really, for this time of the year. Not too hot. Williams takes the kick in. Pushing the ball out towards the wing. That was he'd be pretty disappointed with that, Ben Beams.
He had it spent before he actually controlled the ball. It was a beautiful kick coming out of defence. Hit him on the chest. He was going to turn and play on. And I think he was just starting to think about what he was going to do with it before he actually controlled the ball.
White still being opposed by Hall, who's doing pretty well so far.
Oh, it did well to get a boot to it.
Magnificently to get a boot to it. Wheatley, well tackled. Pushed a little in the back, but well done by Clinton King. Sliding into it, and we'll see a bounce. Tigers continuing on from where they left off in the first quarter. Umpire having some words to say there. Scott McLaren clearing them out a bit. Hall and White. And Hall got a great tap. Campbell just couldn't quite hang on to it, but the idea was great. Oh, out on the full. And Uze obviously is disappointed with that little effort. Campbell's squeezing the kick out.
Oh, has to be, surely in the back.
Not paid to Rogers. Uze's kick away. Leoncelli to try and clean up. Walsh just overran it a bit. Daffy put his body in and got a free.
Well, there it is again. Players with their heads and bodies over the ball being rewarded. And Nick Daffy, although a bit of a crook right hip.
It does, though, the ticky-touchwood nature of the rule. If they're going to pay it, they're going to be really strict on it. They've got to be careful about the diving player, don't they? Because if you go in and just suddenly move your head up or down, it can have a massive effect on where that initial contact is made.
Can't understand what they're trying to do. I mean, the bottom line is they want to protect the player attacking the ball, but pretty good camera shot there. 50 metres out. Oh, beautiful strike.
It was beautifully kicked straight through for the Tigers' fifth.
Good eye, buddy. Getting better, George.
Thanks for fixing my chair, George.
Oh, Now that's taste. How can one man have so much talent?
Nick Daffy's first goal. Tigers 5-4. Have kicked the last couple. Early stages of the second quarter. Here we go again with 4 ruckmen. Uze squeezing it away. Leoncelli over the top beams. Campbell in pursuit. Godfrey as well. Beams. Well, no, he didn't keep it in. The umpire, though, has paid a free, I think, for in the back. There is a fair bit going on out there. Campbell
enjoy that.
Rudely interrupted from the fight by the umpire.
Well, I got to go back to my rule book because I got a problem with what's happening in the centre bounce at the moment. Contact prior to the bounce.
We'll get back to it in a moment. Neats, not able to get the ball to bounce into his chest on the second bite. Farmer claiming it. So what are you saying, Paul, that they're not allowed to make contact before the ball hits the ground?
Well, that was my understanding, but as I said, I might have to revisit my rules. But there's a fair bit of contact being made prior to the ball being bounced, and that wasn't a component of the original intention.
Well, we'll get it checked at half-time. Well, Robertson goes down. He slipped.
Again, you're right. You're spot on, Hutto. He actually slipped, and as he slipped, the Tigers defender, who had his arms down trying to either get the ball or Robertson, then came in contact with his head. As you see his legs go there, and that's just a brush on the back of the head. Mind you, got a bit of attention after he'd been paid the free kick from Wayne Campbell, but
it's going to be so costly. There's so much of that in football, and forwards do it all the time. Stop, prop, take control of the ball, and gee, it's going to be costly.
Important that Robertson converts, and it looks like he's missed it badly.
Well, one thing the rule will do, it's going to mean that you have to be very careful about the way you approach a player who's over the ball on the ground, and that may not necessarily be a bad thing. You just have to back off a little bit to make sure you're controlling all your movements.
Dipper.
Yes, the bench, as we see for the Tigers, Hilton, Pettifer, Broderick, Steinford, Sizzler and Haynes.
Bitterscombe to kick in. Campbell and Cameron the target. Only have to Campbell up very high. Didn't complete the mark. Only had to compete with the relatively small player in Beam, so it was perfect for the fly. Cameron's kick. Alton's worked his way to the front, but he just misjudged it in doing that. Nicholson taking the mark. Got Walsh. Better watch out. He was off. He was a little foolish to keep going there, but he's got away with it. Leoncelli's kick was halted somewhat. White takes it. Good kick too. And he spots up Bruce, who's 40 metres out and on a 45 to 50 degree angle.
Well, just caught the Richmond backs on the turnover there. They'd pushed up a little bit the flow of play and a man in space, but great disposal of the ball here by Jeff White. Quick to find the man out in his own there. And, of course, Cameron Bruce more than happy to take receipt of that.
And pretty good in front of goal, generally, Cameron Bruce. And he is this time in the end. Wasn't the greatest looking kick, but it's a goal.
Up to 70,000 thoughts every day. Eyes which can differentiate between 10 million different colors. Hearing that detects frequencies between 20 and 20,000 hertz. And 656 muscles, 17 of which are moving when he smiles. When we develop digital technology, we know who it's for. LG, life's good.
Yeah, just on the breeze out there, nothing to really push the ball left or right. There's no advantage anywhere, just a slight breeze, as Jason said.
5-4 to 3-6. And now the Demons with some momentum as Uze breaks clear. He kicked it well enough in the end, but this time, Green just overrunning it. Goes in after it again.
That was good soccer play by Green there. We know he's a very accomplished soccer player before taking up Australian rules full time.
Cameron's kick opened it up for Tivendale somehow. He just couldn't lay the ball off by hand. Mills was just a little bit too close to his opponent for him to be able to get the handball off, and so he decided to kick it. Let's check the Demons bench.
And we see him running up and down the boundary line. Thompson, Broadbridge, Phoebe, Woden, Pitts and Clark.
Hall over the top, trying his best to spoil Simmons, who maybe is running on the ruck in the ruck at the moment.
Interesting to see the amount of time that Shane Woden's spending on the bench, and we see Andrew Leoncelli's only just come on the ground. I mean, that's been their strength last year with the Uzes, Wodens, Leoncelli's, and also Regoni, who's not playing today, but they're getting beaten by a pretty good core of on-ballers, the Tigers.
Well, with the Ansett Cup forming the major component of a preparation for the main season, you've got to take the opportunity to have a look at some of the other guys and see what they're capable of.
Well, they'll miss Powell too as the year goes on. I mean, hopefully he'll come back mid-year, but who knows? Those groin injuries are pretty severe. Farmer! Blistering stuff from Jeff, but he just couldn't quite get it to sit properly at the end. Beautiful. Free kick taken away by Cameron Bruce. Demon streaming into attack, pushing back Neitz. Jeff White down there, whistles gone. Free kick to Melbourne to Neitz. And there we see that rule again, or that interpretation of hanging on. And Darren Gasper's got to work out how he's going to cope with that.
Well, do you think that passage of play didn't bring the Melbourne fans into the game? You just should have seen Jeff Farmer. The first handball was over the top. Then he had another plane coming, so he went handballed outside, stepped inside. If that ball had have sat, we could have been looking at goal of the century. I reckon we saw him do one like that out at Waverley, and that would have he would have set sail for home if that had have sat up.
Let's get the overstatements out of the way early in the season.
Neitz started it left, and it just swung around beautifully. So the Demons, they kick the last two, they're right back in it.
Every year, there are over 2,400 deaths or injuries in residential streets across Victoria. So the speed limit is now 50 kilometres per hour. There's a damn good reason to stick to it.
Well, there's the whiz, Jeff Farmer, after that blistering run, which didn't quite come off, but in the end it resulted in a Melbourne goal nonetheless. So 4 points the margin now. The last two goals have really got Melbourne back, and here's Farmer again in great position to mark. Thought about playing on. He thought long and hard about playing on. He wanted to. He doesn't like to stop, Jeff, if he can at all help it. He might have a crack here at goal. He unwound it. He just waited it for White. Was that interference? No, it wasn't. And the ball into the behind post. So suddenly it's...
Yeah, too crowded then in the four line. Once he took that mark, every player just ran into the four line, just closed it up a bit.
Well, Melbourne attacking with White playing at the moment in a key forward position along with Neitz. It's a pretty dangerous combination. They can afford to do it. Simmons rucking. Here's Uze. And a bounce.
Well, tempo's just kicked up another gear over the past 5 minutes, and that's a good sign for the fans.
Well, I think more so on the Demons side, because the Tigers looked ready to really break the game open, but the Demons have fought their way back into it now. White
conceding ground to try and get some space for his forwards. Oh, Burke just shrugged. Oh, he took the bounce. Very audacious decision to bounce. Knights.
Beautiful.
Gee, did that well.
That's class, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Most people would have got rid of it quickly, but Knights wasn't going to waste it. His kick in the end was disappointing considering his earlier play. Wheatley to take it away. He just pokes it up left, looking for Leoncelli. Campbell worried him out of it. Had nowhere to go, went to the boundary line. Did a good job.
It was a shame that Matthew Knights didn't hit the target as he broke through the middle, because it was a great passage of play. But from a forward's perspective, when that pass does come in, if the player's going to err, you'd rather they erred short, so that at least the ball bounces in front of you. You've still got a chance of collecting it. Once it's over your head, virtually got no hope.
Oh, well done by Joel Bowden. He, again, just didn't finish off his work with good disposal. Walsh just got clear in time. Neitz doesn't pump it long. Instead, he drives it into space. It was well kicked. And Jeff White has shown a fair bit of mobility so far in this match as a forward.
Is that what you said there, Jace? He just put the ball in front of him, and Jeff White made the 10 metres to get that ball.
He's very effective up forward, Jeff White, because he has the mobility of I guess an average forward who can lead and lead well, and he's playing on a defender, not a ruckman that's acting as a defender.
So this will actually put Melbourne in front if he can convert here. Starts it right, he comes back and it doesn't come back enough, and a behind. So 4-7 plays 5-4 now.
Well, if they can get 20, 30 goals out of Jeff White as the #1 ruckman this year, looking forward, then that's a fantastic return from the big fella. But that's only if.
How many did Hawthorn get out of you last year?
Oh, they got a whopping 6.
He kicked 16 goals for the year last year, Jeff White, 58 for his career in 100 games.
They're a good 6 though, Jace.
Campbell up towards the wing. The Ottens did pretty well then. Bitterscombe.
Oh, great kick.
King with the flight. Now, can he use it well? He's got a man pushing deep in towards full forward. It bounces up. Ben Haynes it was, but just didn't quite get there.
Yeah, that was the one he was looking for. He just didn't strike the ball properly, unfortunately. He was looking to kick it over the pack to the advantage of his teammate, but unfortunately just couldn't get the distance on it.
Halfway through this quarter, Wairarapa is about to come back on. I think that's the plan of attack for Shane.
Fair bit of rotation down there for the Melbourne midfielders there, Tipper.
Yeah, there is, Paul. Obviously, this would be Shane's second time on the ground.
Well done by Joel Bowden. Brilliant work. Second time he's done that.
The time it takes to acquire the knowledge.
How many does it take to tango?
2. A lifetime. Time it takes to make a potential 100 grand.
Let's play. Start the clock.
1 hour. Time it takes to go from hero to humiliation on national television.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Less than 2 minutes.
Who's buckling under the pressure?
9 new players, only 1 will win.
Who will be the victor?
The worldwide phenomenon, The Weakest Link, Monday on 7.
So Woden on for the Demons and changing the ruck for the Tigers with young Paddy Steinford coming on into the ruck against Simmons.
And Leoncelli off for the Demons.
See how many ruckmen we've got at this contest. Looks like we've just got the 2. Over the top, Steinford, he played for a free. That's the other thing we're going to see with this rule is we're going to see more acting, you would think.
Everyone wants to be a ruckman, don't they?
Well, look, it's funny you mention that, Paul, because today we've seen quite a few non-ruckman types actually going up at boundary throw-ins, at ball-ups around the ground in the forward line, that sort of thing.
We've seen more of that in the last 12 months or so, haven't we? Just gradually creeping in.
And that's because some of the guys that go into those contests, you play the odds, and if you've got a tall, strong player you know is capable in that area, the key ruckman will push off and go to a more attacking position.
So, interestingly poised at the moment, this match. 9 points the difference, midway through the second, getting towards the end of the second, towards half-time. Neil Danaher, as usual, not showing too much emotion about it all. Green, hurried kick, tough for Bitterscombe. Oh, Neats handled that brilliantly. That bit of play deserved a goal, but he was just had too much momentum going away to the right and couldn't hook it back enough. Missed the lot.
Looking for the sponsors in the main bar there with that kick. It was worth a shot.
Were you trying to be funny then with the reference to Maine, Paul, or not?
I hope Melbourne appreciate it.
Gasper and Neats over the top. Well, this favours Gasper just inside the line. And quick, here's away to half-forward. Brown in good position, though, for the Demons. He spilt the mark, and the umpire did well not to pay it under those circumstances. Clinton King takes it. Good kick. It opens up. Haynes has got... he had Rogers right next to him. Unfortunately, young Ben Haynes couldn't take the mark. Goes in again. Did well that time. Rogers, he fumbles it now. What's wrong with the ball at that play? Here goes Haynes again. And he's caught it third time. Knights can't pull it out of there. Tivendale tries. Knights again. Can somebody handle it cleanly in there? It appears not at this stage. Yes, Brown can. And his kick, though, isn't great. Phoebe on the run. Ottens just too strong in the middle. He's got Ziller, or he's got a couple of short options. Good kick. Great vision to centre half forward. Bowden, what's he doing? He's trying to get closer to goal.
He fumbled it to crib a couple of metres. He deliberately fumbled the ball.
He did.
Look, he takes the ball cleanly and then throws it up as though there's the mark there.
How's that for a tactic?
Plus, he turned himself around to see what was around him. He maybe could play on that.
I've never seen that done before. You must... well, he obviously realised he had a little bit of space and time, because you wouldn't be doing that deliberately if there was someone in the immediate area, would you?
Well,
but he cribbed a yard. That could be the difference between kicking the goal or not.
Yeah. He's usually pretty good over about 55 metres, isn't he? This gets him to 50. And I think he's missed it to the left.
He's kicked it 65.
He didn't need to crib the couple of metres, did he?
Well, we've seen a few new things today, haven't we?
That's extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. That's a good 3 yards he's managed to con out of the umpire there.
It's actually play on.
Now, they're the fashion these days, aren't they? The ice vests. Filled with ice or cold water to reduce the player's temperature and speed their recovery up.
He's taken the mark. He's thrown the ball.
Did he actually throw it? He would probably argue that he didn't. Bitterscombe over the top. Robertson with quite a bit of space to work in, and about 4 Melbourne players leading at him. Instead, he held on to the ball for a long time, and his disposal in the end was pretty bad, so they wouldn't be all that impressed then. Still, though, the Melbourne players fight on. Phoebe, Williams couldn't get through. Melbourne had some open players in the forward line. If they just could have got a clean possession on that occasion, they couldn't. Neats battling for it. Green. Finally, it's Clinton King who's come into the action in the last 10 or 15 minutes. Gasper around the body towards the boundary line. And a throw into result.
It's a shame Russell Robinson broke to his left, because he had Stephen Phoebe, who's just come off the ground, supporting him to the right, who was actually, he basically had half of the attacking 50-metre area all on his own if he could have chipped it over that way.
And still no one's manned him up, so it's interesting to see how long it takes. But that was good play by Richmond. They hassled, they harassed, and they've got the rewards. There's a neutral opportunity now with a boundary throw in on centre wing, so Tigers being rewarded for their efforts there.
10 points the margin. Simmons to Woden, but Knights came through. Spotted Clinton King, couldn't get it to him though. Now King helps out Knights. Well, that was great vision. Bowden, and on the overlap, Cameron. There's a penetrating kick. Campbell propped pretty well. Godfrey didn't quite have the body strength, but he did really well. Good persistence, and got it over the line and out of bounds, and I'm sure will be well congratulated by his teammates.
Yeah, he did particularly well, Simon Godfrey. I mean, that's obviously a big job to him to pick up someone like Wayne Campbell, and he's been doing it on the ball as well as when Campbell goes forward, so he's got the job for the day at this stage.
Just got the hand to it at the crucial moment. And there's a bit of cuddling going on between Ottens and his direct opponent in the ruck contest, Nicholson.
A bit of cuddling.
Well,
a bit of canoodling.
In the corner?
Yes, well, it's one word for it, but two strong lads.
Thompson coming onto the ground for his first run for the Demons. Scott Thompson, their pick at number 16 in the draft last year. Here's Campbell. Knights just has that great awareness about him. Tivendale was sold into a fair bit of trouble from Knights. Zilla, again Knights. Oh, he handballed straight to Daffy, who somehow, well, he almost got through. Godfrey wrapped up, and a bounce. Probably the kindest result for everybody there.
It's interesting when you watch Matthew Knights, just keep an eye on one of his best traits, I think, as an on-baller or a person that's always around the contest, is he always keeps his feet.
Yes.
Too many players go to ground and take themselves out of the contest, but he's always looking to stay up on both feet.
Again, another ball up, the only result there. Ward it was. Daffy.
It's a good point, Jason. It's more and more critical in the modern footy just to keep your feet, stay balanced and stay upright.
Once you hit the deck, you're a man down, aren't you?
You certainly are.
Walsh to the wing. Bitterscombe coming from behind. Robertson, who did pretty well. Wheatley, well-weighted handball. Robertson just couldn't get the bounce that he wanted. A little bit slippery too. He's just pushed off it there by Bitterscombe, who did pretty well. Williams for Melbourne, number 26 in there.
It's like a classic arm wrestle at the moment.
There's been some terrific battles at little passages of play, both sides, where the pressure on their opponents who seem to have control of the ball has just been fantastic, and they've just bottled it up.
Steinfort helped on by Wheatley. This is Cameron. He went with the hand to Tawney. And Daffy didn't mark it. Got a free. Advantage paid. Just about within range. He's well within range. Unfortunately, the result was poster. Gee, that would have been a very handy goal. Would have taken them 16 in front with about just under 2 minutes remaining in the quarter.
He's so dangerous on the break like that, and he balances himself so well before he disposes of the ball that it's almost putting your glasses down with Nick.
Woden. Simmons at the front. Farmer pushing it through now. Phoebe can possibly set something up for the Demons. That was young Thompson coming through, number 6. Couldn't take it with him. Gasper. Thompson over the top of him. This time Gasper gets a free, and I'm sure he'll enjoy that. Bitterscombe is, again, the Tigers, well, they were going to go to the outer side. Instead, through the middle. Daffy, well up the ground from where his last kick was. Kicked it very high, made it very tough for Rogers, who did pretty well, as it turned out. Tawney just turned the body, but was well tackled. Rogers, again, just a little bit of fumbling, but Callaway managed to push the handball through. Zilla's kick. Haynes over his head. Woden the spoil. Down and trying to come through onto the left boot. Tivendale's kick is well marked by Campbell.
That was a good thrust forward there. Richmond looked very clean from half back and very rewarded here. Should be able to finish this off, Wayne.
There was Adrian Burgill, actually, Jason. Burgill. We'll check that one. Ottens to shoot for goal. And that's, well, not great marking by the Demons.
It's amazing how much they look alike, though, Burgill and Tivendale.
Left footers always look good on the burst, don't they?
That's my
beautiful, beautiful stylists when they kick the ball.
Burgill is a rookie. He was on the supplementary list, but promoted to be a rookie for this year.
It's his first kick for the day, so a pretty good one.
Ottens putting the Tigers 17 points in front. Right on half-time. And that is a very handy break in what, as we've said, has been pretty much an arm wrestle between the two sides.
Yeah, it certainly has been, and no indications that Richmond have got this game and they're keeping it all at this point in time. So, what will happen in the second half? It's still anybody's game. We'll take a break. We're back soon. Half-time scores, 7-6 to 4-7.
This news update is brought to you by the Commonwealth Bank. Make it happen.
Sporting tragedies, a drag racer critically injured in New South Wales and an apprentice jockey killed in a shocking race accident in Benalla. The waiting game continues on the Burnley Tunnel. St Kilda residents rally to reclaim their streets from prostitution. Grand Prix excitement as the Premier tastes life in the fast lane. And from Taiwan with love, a perfect match. Details at 6.
With multiple SMS and SMS chat, you can have fun staying in touch.
Ballarat Begonia Festival 2001, an open space odyssey. Catch the world-acclaimed Circus Oz under the big top. It's Circus with Bite. Celebrate the centenary of Federation in the Prime Minister's Avenue. Learn what makes good gardens great at Gardening 2001. It's a must for garden lovers. So much to see, so much to do.
The Universal Music Appeal presents Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi in their only Australian show, live at the Colonial Stadium March 24, with a host of special guests including Jimmy Barnes in a massive 5-hour show. Tickets for this special event just $62.60 from Ticketmaster. Bon Jovi live, on sale Monday.
At Bunnings Warehouse, we have the lowest home improvement prices every day, which means you can afford to buy more. Like assorted house keys, 2 for $7. Arlic double PowerPoint, $8.46. Insulco R3 Fat Bats, $20.50. Mains Voltage download kit, $59.88. Kinnear's Gutter Guard, $1.90. If you happen to find a cheaper price on a stocked item, we'll beat it by 10%.
Bunnings Warehouse.
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
Well, here we are back at Optus Oval for round 2, Ansett Cup football. And so far we've seen a pretty good clash between Richmond and Melbourne. Richmond at the moment, 7 goals, 6-48, leading the Demons, 4-7-31. And Jason, it's been a pretty good game of football to this point in time.
Yeah, pretty good struggle. They've opened up a 3-goal break, the Tigers, but, well, the way that second half of that second quarter actually teetered, I would be betting against the Demons coming back into it.
No, nor would I. And down on the boundary, we've got Dipper with a very important member of the Melbourne side not taking part today, Anthony McDonald.
Yeah, spot on there, Anthony McDonald, not James McDonald, but Anthony. I heard that you've been back running now for about 5 or 6 weeks. Just tell us about your progress.
Yeah, Dipper, I'm about 2 or 3 weeks away. I've sort of had the osteopubis, it's sort of a bit of a carryover from last year, and as they say, the docs just rest, and I'm doing plenty of that, but I'm not too far away.
So resting means there's just are you running, swimming, all these sort of?
Yeah, been chasing the black line for a fair while over pre-season. It's pretty boring, but yeah, the last 2 or 3 weeks I've been back into skill work, so it's finally starting to see the bit of the footy. Yeah, it's great.
Macca, it's Jason Dunstall here. Dipper actually mentioned your brother James there. He had a serious knee injury last year. How's his recuperation going?
Yeah, no, he's going well. Jaycee's, they're expecting like round 5 or 6 for him, so he hasn't had any setbacks. Everything's been going really well for him, so and he's pretty lightly framed, so yeah, fingers crossed for him. He'll be back like pretty early in the season, which is good for him, which will be about the 9 or 10 month mark.
Anthony, today's game, it's been interesting. A lot of your senior players, such as Woden, being rotated, given plenty of time on the bench. What's behind that?
I didn't coach much of that.
Some of your senior players have been transferred on the bench.
Yeah, I think that's just a bit of a rotation thing. Neil's sort of really keen to give a lot of the young fellas a go this Ansett Cup. And while he's had a few things carry over from pre-season himself, so him and Andy Liancelli I've seen him been changing off the bench, and it's just a bit of a rotation thing to see who can play where and things like that.
Anthony, in the last, I guess, 10 or 15 years, we've seen the Demons bob up and have a great year and not necessarily back that up with strong form the following year. Now, you were so successful last year making it through to the grand final. Have you done anything differently to try and make sure you can back that form up this year?
I guess our fitness guy, Paul Ford, he's really been, and the emphasis with Neil, of course, we've been training. We're probably actually fitter again this year. He's really put us through our hoops, and we're sort of hanging our hats on the fitness side of things. And then if we hopefully, obviously, the body holds together pretty well, and then we take from there. So the fitness is the number one thing, I think.
Anthony, Neil Danner has had you for 2 or 3 years now. Any significant change in the way he's coaching, or is the message still very strong and very consistent?
Oh no, Neil's fantastic. He's I think that's the best thing about Neil. He's he knows how to has got a good rapport with other players, and he understands the guys, and he knows how to approach different people, and he's always refreshing, bringing new ideas in, and the guys are keen as mustard, and he's great.
Of course, he's fantastic. He's your coach, that's why, Anthony.
Exactly.
But this time of the year, we'd like to push the membership drive and Family Day. So, you got a message for the Demons supporters out there?
Yeah, just a quick one. We've got the Family Day at the MCG on the 25th of March, and the membership number I think is on screen as we speak. And for all those people that haven't rung in yet, please join up and ring that number.
You're learning really quickly, aren't you?
Working beautifully.
Thanks for joining us, and good luck for you and your brother and the Demons this year.
Good on you, Dip. Thanks, boys.
Thanks, Anthony. Poetry in motion on the boundary there. And we've got that Melbourne membership number up there, very clear, loud and clear. We'll take a break. We'll be back shortly to Optus Oval.
Tuesday, how to make your garden come alive without spending a cent.
You're going to end up with a bigger and better garden every season.
And a quick and easy lamb roast ready to serve in just 30 minutes.
It's so quick to cook.
Better Homes and Gardens, Tuesday 7:30. Then at 8.
It's exotic and inexpensive, and it's closer than it seems.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Plus, take a tour of Melbourne in style.
Enjoying the view of St Kilda out the window there?
In the famous Tramcar restaurant on the Great Outdoors.
It's the Victory Great Summer Sale, with massive savings on their entire range of curtains and blinds.
Victory, victory, curtains and blinds. One
Life is changing so fast, it's scary. But you only get one chance. So what are you waiting for? Get into it. Aim for a better future today. Buy that house. Renovate. Stop watching. Start doing. Anything is possible.
At Bunnings Warehouse, we have the lowest home improvement prices every day, which means you can afford to buy more. Like treated pine lattice, $11.96. Outdoor floodlight, $9.98. 5-litre garden sprayer, $19.89. 23-piece combination socket set, $49.96. Pack of 12 glass tumblers, $8. If you happen to find a cheaper price on a stocked item, we'll beat it by 10%.
Bunnings Warehouse.
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
Introducing TXU Airwatch, a new initiative by TXU and the Victorian Environment Protection Authority that helps kids learn about improving our air quality and environment. Victorian school students monitor these issues daily, and 7 News keeps everyone up to date with the school data. But the entire community can take simple steps to clean up our air, like carpooling or catching the train to work. TXU Airwatch. Breathe easy.
Well, half-time here in round 2 football, Ansett Cup football, Richmond versus Melbourne, and we do see Richmond ahead at the moment, 7-6 48 to 4-7 Melbourne 31. And we've said it once, we'll say it 1,000 times today, it is a beautiful day out here at Optus Oval, and there's been quality football so far. Well, good friend of Channel 7 and football in general is Scotty Palmer. He joins us live from the Sunday Herald Sun-Bill. Oh, look at that. Just enjoying the paper there, Scotty.
Just catching up on punchlines again.
How are you, mate?
I'm terrific, yeah, but Collingwood, I tell you what, they're flying back from Perth today, and they've got a couple of injury worries. Young Nick Davis and James Clemente, or whatever they call him. They've both got knee injuries. They're going to have scans tomorrow. Early diagnosis said that they're not too bad, but they will miss matches. And I tell you what, boys, Collingwood will need everyone against North Melbourne next week because it's going to be a blockbuster.
Well, they certainly will, Scotty, and we saw Mick Malthouse's reaction to the game after the game last night. He's certainly enjoying the jeers from the crowd.
Actually, he likes it. He likes that rivalry. He reckons it's the same as when Kevin Sheedy waved his jacket. And he said, I'm pleased that the people over there had brains enough to know that we'd come a long way together in those previous years.
Scotty,
that's typical Mickey.
Scotty, you mentioned the big one against the Kangaroos. We haven't seen Wayne Carey in the Ansett Cup as yet. Is he going to return?
He will return next week to play alongside Sav Rocker. There's no doubt about it. North confirmed today that the big king will arrive. And I tell you what, with Sav alongside him, it's going to be a terrific venue to be there in the Docklands next week.
Well, Scotty, Wayne was up at the game yesterday and we caught him after he'd been for a run. He looks in great nick. Also, not exactly football news, but another man, Andrew Demetriou, the chief executive of the AFL, or
He's
one of the
touched that
chiefs.
boy, isn't he?
What's going on there, mate?
I tell you what, he goes up to Monica to see his old side, North Melbourne, play. He's looking at the sheet. He backs the quadrella. $2,000 jumped into his pocket as well. So those boys at the AFL can't do anything wrong, can they?
Oh, they just keep feathering their own nest, don't they, Scotty? What about the big one up at Cairns? Almost called off because of Cyclone Abigail. I think we had a couple of injuries. No Chris Grant. And what happened to Craig Ellis?
Yeah, well, Craig Ellis had salmonella. Now, the Bulldog boys can't believe it because he usually lives on muesli and all that good stuff because his body is his temple, Jason. You know that.
No, but Jason doesn't know that.
But I tell you what, Chris Grant dropped out because of a sore back. He trained on the Friday night, but he might have looked at Abigail and said, I'm not going to have anything to do with Abigail.
He'd be the first one to look at Abigail and say that.
But they did well, the Dogs. I spoke to the Lions today. They just said that the Bulldogs went a lot harder for the ball. Blokes like Libba were fantastic in the rain, and it's a call sign for the Lions. Don't be too sort of apprehensive about going in for the ball.
Yeah, Scotty, look, there was a couple of other injuries to come out of this round of football, and one was Stewie Lowy, Peter Riccardi. Can you keep us up to date with that?
Stewie Lowe, of course, arrived back, and I'll tell you what, they're waiting for the scan tomorrow. His first hamstring in 16 years. It's taken the big bloke by complete surprise. But they think he'll miss 4 weeks, which isn't good news the way they've been going. And Peter Riccardi, he's done a groin, and he'll be out for a couple of weeks for the Cats as well. And of course, the West Coast Eagles, we don't mention those too often, but once upon a time they had a waiting list over there. You had to wait to get into a membership, boys. but there's no waiting list now. They're about 10% down on their membership just for finishing out of the finals once last year. It's unbelievable, this football business.
Now, Scotty, you're always bringing us everything that's happening on the grapevine, but knowing you've probably got a little bit more. Anything else tucked up your sleeve?
Well, what about the big meeting on Tuesday where John Elliott has called the presidents together, Jace? I know you don't go in for this politics much, but Big John said at Carlton yesterday that he didn't want that leak to get out. Now, have you ever heard Big John sort of keeping a secret? he reckons it's going to become an annual event. But I reckon Terry O'Connor will hold his position on the board because they don't like making changes down there at the AFL.
Well, don't they?
They really don't.
No, that's good for Terry, of course, and there's a lot of speculation during the week, but
But
Scotty...
I'll tell you what, did you read the story on Calvin Templeton today, boys?
Yes, I did. Adopting a second child.
I reckon that was a fantastic story. He snuck away to Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, and he's been working over there for about 5 years to get a little baby out of there. He missed out the first time because a measles epidemic went through the place and most of the little babies died. But 18 months ago, he and his wife Kerry tried again, and they're brought back to Sydney. Little Kiki, 2.5 years old, curly hair, and they're absolutely thrilled. It's a nice, heart-wrenching footy story that does us proud, boys.
It is beautiful, Scott. It's a beautiful story, Scotty, and we're glad that Kelvin avoided the internet, which has been causing problems.
Don't go there.
No, not going there. Keep punching, Scotty. I've always wanted to say it, mate.
Keep punching, boys, and you're doing a good job out there at Optus Oval.
Thank you very much, mate. Scotty Palmer, Sunday Herald Sun. We'll be back after the break with the second half of football from Optus Oval.
Can I help you, sir? Yeah, look, what have you got for a Falcon for less than 120 bucks?
Well, we've got Aussie-made Olympic sprinters from $111, Goodyear Regattas from $94, and Dunlop Grand Prix from $91.
Jeez, that's all right. But I'll just shop around, you know. Make sure I get the best price.
No problem, sir.
He'll be back.
Bow's big blockbuster sale. Top deals on tyres. Call 132381 for your nearest store.
This is Limping Formula One. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Here's a great option for internet fans. Telstra offers a flat rate of just $24.95 per month. $24.95 a month for Telstra Big Pond? That has to be tempting.
When it comes to choosing a health insurance fund, what's really important to me is security. Oh, and a wide network. Who knows? I may want to move interstate one day. Yeah, and someone who really cares. You know, looks after people. That's important. They're just a few of the reasons why I feel a whole lot better with Medibank Private.
I feel better now. To survive in the wide open spaces, you need a real four-wheel drive. The new Kia Sportage. Look at the clearance. It's got a real tough chassis and a dual-range gearbox. It'll take you anywhere. Inside, it's got everything. Out back, there's even more. It carries all I need to survive.
The new 2-litre Kia Sportage at $25,990.
Bush Ducker. With cars, it's personal.
Back here at Optus Oval, both sides out on the ground, almost ready for resumption of play here for the second half. The first half saw Richmond take the lead 7-6-48 against Melbourne's 4-7-31 to go in at half-time with a pretty good lead, but a pretty close game all round, Jason. And here we see some match stats, which do they tell a story?
Well, Richmond have had an extra 20 possessions, which is basically the equivalent of having an extra player on the ground. But the one that I've taken most note of is the in dispute there, 51-35. And a lot of that's happening at the takeaways around the ground. Just those loose balls, the ones that are up for grabs. The Tigers are a little bit more desperate at the moment, and that's shown with a 3-goal break on the scoreboard.
Do you see the marks there? Are they surprisingly low for a day that's as good as this?
Well, again, another thing that reflects is the fact that the Tigers aren't chipping the ball short. They're not trying to play the possession game. They're sticking to their game plan, which is just basically kicking it long into the forward line.
Yeah, and working pretty well for them too. Down to the boundary with his PSI gauge, his weather map, everything. Dipper.
Sorry, boys, I'm on the job, you know. There's a boundary right, the interviews, making sure the balls are pumped up. This one, the PSIs are working beautifully, as we see the bench for the Melbourne boys just running through us. Look, the breeze has certainly picked up. You didn't mention the first half, it was a slight breeze, but if there's any advantage now, it would be towards the, what do you call that? Oh, the legend stand, that's right, the legend stand.
Your stand.
Well, you know, what can I say? I've never sat in that stand, but I should go sit there. But no, the breeze is favouring that in there, so keep an eye out for that. And interesting that Anthony McDonald did say the way they're rotating their bench with Wowoda and Liam Shelley on and off the bench here. But we'll keep you up to date, boys, and back to you. Here's your footy.
I said to Scotty, keep on punching. Can I say keep on blowing, Dipper? Thanks very much, mate. And it is the wind is picking up a bit. Whether it'll be a significant advantage one way or the other remains to be seen. But here we go for the start of the third quarter.
17 points in it. And again, well, we seem to have about 8 players going for that one. It wasn't the most perfect of bounces. Liam Shelley, first one to get a decent possession. Brown, his kick was just a little hurried and it made it tough. Well, for all players, needs handled it well. Bruce kicked it in front of Farmer. Over the top, Tawney, who's had the job on Farmer before. And Farmer gets away this time. Couldn't get the contact he would have liked. Uze, good wrestling from Callaway. Robertson, I think all he got was a piece of Bitterscombe. Yes, he did, according to the umpire. A little unlucky for Robertson, who was about to get to his feet.
Well, his intention was the ball, Robertson, and you know, they give backmen some latitude when their attention's the ball, but off the boot's in there.
Well, I guess if the boot actually makes contact with the stomach, let's see whether it did. Well, hard to tell from that angle, I guess. That's a big leap again from Campbell, but not able to take the mark. Quick kick from Daffy. Knights in front, Brown right there with him, and a bounce to result. So 7-6 plays 4-7.
Well, Melbourne would love to get the first score on the board here, particularly a goal, just to plant the seed back in Richmond's minds that they've got a game on their hands.
Well, that's what happened early in the second quarter after Richmond had opened up a handy lead. The Demons strung together a couple of goals.
And just talk about the Demons, boys. I've got their bench here. We've got Thompson, Pitt, Green, Beams, Broadbridge and Clark. And Liam Shelley and Wowoden both on the ground.
Liam Shelley, as you mentioned, on the ground and getting that kick away to half forward. Farmer again. He didn't try and pick it up. He knocked it over instead. Wowoden, he went to ground. Probably accentuated the shove, but deserved the free kick, you would think. He's about 60 out, just too far. He goes short. Brown, right from the mark of 50. Just misses to the right.
It's interesting, Dipper mentioning there that both Wowoden and Liam Shelley on the ground now. With all the Premier on ballers on the ground, it's actually Joel Bowden that's the big possession winner at the moment. He's got 14, the most on the ground.
Well, with Rigoni out as well as Powell, that does take a bit of a hole, leaves a bit of a hole, doesn't it, in the Demons midfield. Tawney, one option for Cameron, but he goes longer than that. Gasper will have to go against White and Needs. So it was, well, but 3 or 4 players had fell then as they went for the ball. The umpire could only let it go. Well done, Phoebe. Wowoden spots up Simmons. Good kick. Not paid as a free kick.
Gee,
that's holding the man now.
That's an interesting decision that Simmons wasn't paid the mark or free kick there, wasn't it?
It did look like some sort of interference. There's the free for holding. Hilton from the side. Nicholson just got hands to it. Otten's loping after it. Had a lot of time. Suddenly he hasn't. And then he kicks it very high. 2 Tigers there. Hilton with support, and he gets away. Hilton, well done, great acceleration, straightened up, he's steady, did everything right, but just couldn't pull it back enough to put it through for a goal. Perhaps Bitterscombe could have done a little bit more in support. Let's check the Tigers bench.
Yes, I'll keep you up to date with that too. Chaffee, Pettifer, Broderick, Steinford, Sizzler and Mills.
Woden after it, taking it pretty well. Hall pushing back, over the top Williams. Hall goes again. He's a little quieter in the second quarter after a pretty bright opening. He has got a good left foot on him though, up to half forward, just trying to push back and run onto the ball. Then was Bowden. Cleared the path for Clinton King, back to Bowden, certainly within range from 40, makes pretty good contact, and it just goes through from behind.
Can I just apologise to Stephen Ziller? It's not Sizzler.
I was going to say, mate,
I was a bit hungry. I'm sorry.
If there's a sizzler down there, can you grab me a steak sandwich?
There's the kick in, it's low. Oh, was that interference on Godfrey? Yes, it was. Advantage taken. They quickly move it out to Woden. To half a good lead from Neitz. Beautiful kick. Presented himself well. He had the space in front. He's got Brown on the overlap. He's got a lead down there from White, who's being well manned by Burke just at the moment.
This ball, Anthony, has to go right to left, so he'll be heading towards halfway between the point post and goal post, and Breeze will take it across.
As Dipper said, if there's any advantage with the wind, it is going the direction Melbourne are. We can see the task ahead for David Neitz. And he made an excellent job of that. The Demons within 2.
Ansett's new e-check-in is the quick and easy way to grab your boarding pass. You can even choose where you sit. Or where you don't. It's another first from Ansett.
David Neitz becoming Melbourne's first multiple goal kicker. He's kicked 2. For the Tigers, we have Tivendale with 2, and the rest are singles. Leon Shelley that time doing the rucking and roving. Pretty tough to get it clear. Too many players around it.
That can happen in the centre bounce with the larger circle. If the two ruckmen position themselves on one side of the big circle and the ball bounces the other side, they've just got too much ground to make up to get to it. So there's a downside.
They do throw the ball up a lot around the ground now. Was there a consideration to do that at the centre bounce?
Oh, it was discussed, but certainly I would not suspect that'll ever be tampered with.
Bowden emerging and kicking again off his wrong boot, but pretty well. Knights takes it, got a couple of leading options, pushing back his Ottens. That's the direction of the kick, and he'd get to the front. He had to go one-handed in the end. Rogers roved it beautifully, and his kick, unfortunately for the Tigers, hits the post. That was classical forward roving.
It was, wasn't it? He's so good with the hands off the pack.
He has an unbelievable burst of acceleration, Matty Rogers, one of the quickest players going around.
Looks very strong, Matty. He's another player's had a good summer in the gym.
Gee, that's a fair roost.
That is a huge kick in, almost to the centre circle. Simmons spoiled away Hall by Woden. Back to Simmons. And now Melbourne going into attack again. Neitz a long way from home. Out leading. The bounce wasn't too bad for him in the end. Phoebe just unfortunately fumbled, but did very well. Put the pressure back on Gasper and Bitterscombe. Off the left, Neitz, beautifully measured kick. Robertson's second effort, wasn't able to take it still. Knights just getting boot to ball there, enabling Bowden to take it. He had a couple of Tigers around the corner, one of them Clinton King. Now he has got some space to run in, just got to pick it up cleanly. Does that quickly to get the handball on Callaway. Campbell in short, but most of his forwards moving sideways rather than forwards, leading for the ball. The long kick into the square. At the back is Haynes. Beautifully read by Haynes. And he can go through and should be able to convert here for a goal.
It was a good setup from outside of 50 there. They didn't want to go long too early. They waited for the option to present itself, and when it really didn't present itself coming forward to the ball, player with the control of the ball, a good kick to the top of the goal square.
He just showed better judgment than the tall timber there.
He did, didn't he?
And Haynes comes in, kept it low and put it right through. Tigers 8.
At Bunnings Warehouse, we have the lowest home improvement prices every day, which means you can afford to buy more. Like 2.7 litre feed and wheat, $6.30. Quell smoke alarms, 2 for $18. Rechargeable spotlight, $29.95. 4 litre Dulux wash and wear 101, $49.80. 450ml leaf and grass rake, $2.77. If you happen to find a cheaper price on a stocked item, we'll beat it by 10%.
Bunnings Warehouse.
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
So a good boost for young Ben Haynes, elevated from the rookie list, taking the mark after the Daffy kick. Again, the Tigers, Campbell somehow fashioning boot to ball, but Walsh playing in front, quick to move on, used Brown. Just delayed his kick out wide to Williams. And Demons still on the defensive side of the centre. Goes pretty wide, Nets fell over, and that allowed Gaspar stand his ground and take the mark. Switching play and switching it pretty well right out to the wing. This time Haynes just bustled off it, and now Walsh can run away. Had Leoncelli in support, but instead he put the handball through to Uze. Farmer waited for it beautifully, and from 50 pushed it out wide in the breeze, and he didn't push it out wide.
Oh! And Wayne Campbell has let him know all about it, given him a nice hip and shoulder and knocked him to the ground after he kicked the ball, and I think he had a few choice words to say to the Wizard. We can see him bursting inside 50. He misses. There's Wayne Campbell. Gets a little one from the Wizard, and he says, well, here's one back with interest.
Well, he's a little stir, Louise.
It was good to see that no free kick was paid, obviously, because Farmer had initiated the first contact. Brown, Campbell holding the ball. It's just hotting up a little bit, you get the feeling. A bit of niggle and a bit of aggression.
Well, the coaches say we'd like to win. I'm sure the players would love to win. That's why they're approaching at the moment. It's stepped up another notch.
Ottens and Nicholson went down very slowly, both of them crashing to the ground. Free kick picked out, and it's going Melbourne's way.
Gee, Daffy looked a bit stiff not to get one early on for being tackled high.
Good contest on the wing. Again, Campbell did everything but take the mark. Quickly getting up and getting to his feet. Well done there. High kick from Robertson towards centre half forward. Here's Burke, gathering it well. His kick, though, not good. Walsh chopping it off. Dumming the handball to the running Uze, instead going longer and stronger. Simmons propped at the front, got it! Push out.
It's a free kick against Farmer.
Going back to Tawney.
He just pushed Tawney out of the contest, pushed him underneath the ball, which he probably didn't need to do with Simmons' height advantage. He would have been odds on to take the mark anyway.
Leon Cameron, delivery this time is excellent. Up on the wing. Haynes a long way from goal. Oh, he committed himself, and he just kicks very wobbly fashion. Kellaway also a long way up the ground. Found it very hard to swing it back into the breeze. Another behind to the Tigers, which means they're now 8-10 and Melbourne 5-9.
Well, the Tigers giving up some space, enticing them into a short kick, and didn't take the option. Here it goes long again.
Uze's kick, right almost to the wing again. Well done by Big Ottens. Brilliantly done. Cameron on the end of it, using Daffy. A little bit squeezed up. He started it looking for the wind to bring it back. No mark there. Right through from behind again. So Tigers to 8-11. Melbourne at 5-9. Nick Daffy's afternoon. 11 possessions and 1 goal too.
Well, again, the plan's pretty obvious. The Tigers setting up a zone, but
Haynes almost. Farmer certainly pushing up the ground a bit more at the moment. All the way, Woden handball missed everything. Hall poked the kick. Demons were running all the other way. Rogers, was he off? Oh, gee, look close to be. Now he's spinning around quickly. Ottens in the square can let it go. Another goal to Richmond, and they lead by 26 points.
Good out, buddy. Getting better, George.
Thanks for fixing my chair, George.
Oh, now That's taste. How can one man have so much talent?
9-11 to 5-9. This is a very dangerous time for Melbourne now. Richmond could really blow this apart. Farmer and Clinton King did the ruck work that time. Williams kicked away by Knights. Woden, Walsh. Still Woden on Knights. Yeah, a little bit indiscriminate with his tackle that time.
I think he was licking his lips. His eyes lit up because he knew the handball was coming back and he had the drop on Woden, but just didn't approach it the right way.
Nathan Brown. Demons going with lots of short kicks. I'm not sure they're actually getting anywhere. This time it's Williams. Right to full forward. Gaspar at the back is Lee and Shelley. No, off the edge. Off the hands of Callaway and through from behind.
Well, it's another example of control outside 50, waiting for the option to present itself, and it didn't, so long to the top of the goal square.
Again, this time the short kick. Rogers. Very wide. Gave some space, and that's all right for Bowden, who seemed to be just cruising there. Got the handball back okay from Kane Pettifer, who's on the ground. Still a chance for the Tigers. Haynes went to ground, wanted a free, won't get it. Nicholson took a long time, gets the kick away to Beams. And now the Melbourne side looking to break from half back. Had a loose man just waiting on his own on the other side of the ground. It's Williams, who's been a pretty fair player for them this afternoon. Right into the pocket. Looks like Liantelli playing as a forward now. Didn't get a free that time. And the Tigers were able to clean up. Not in the cleanest of fashions. Williams again going in. Held without it, perhaps. Doesn't matter really. Woden taking it away. Good kick this time, Green. No, he just got underneath it. Didn't quite read it as he would have liked. And the Tigers able to get away. Free kick over the shoulder. We'll go back to Burke, is it? Or back to Callaway. $25 points the difference. Andrew Callaway right in that back pocket. Kept it along the line to Gaspar. Good patience shown then by Callaway. Didn't have any obvious options until the Gaspar made that lead. Not quite so good, but they might not get out of trouble. Tivendale, Ward might get the free kick. Gets rewarded.
Well, he had a look, Tivendale, and nothing on, and well, it's just too hot.
Didn't he get punished quickly though?
Goes for the long bomb right to the square. Big leap from Green. Off the ground, Farmer. Certainly clean contact. No one touched it. It's a goal.
Sarah Adams, wife, mother, inspiration to all who've met her.
You okay?
Tuesday.
Oh no, copy.
We're going to need some backup.
All Saints.
Yes, you can. Come on.
We'll try anything to save mother and child.
Come on, little fella, come on.
1 hour of heart-stopping drama.
Yeah. Come on.
With a twist that'll leave you speechless.
Now, there's the door. You have to decide which side of it your future's on.
Tuesday, 8:30 on 7's All Saints.
Maybe that can spark something for the Demons. 6:10:46. They certainly needed something. Tigers doing a pretty good job all around the ground. Going into the win. Rogers taking it away. Right over the head of Pettifer. Right up to half-forward Haynes. Gee, read that well. Takes the mark. He's off. Kicks it quickly into the pocket. Good prop. Good lead from Campbell.
Gee, he's shown a good leap today, Wayne Campbell. He's gone for 2 speckies over the pack, which would have been sensational marks if he managed to hold on to them. And on that occasion, he just used his leap to... He still took a chest mark, but by leaping that high and taking the chest mark, he used his body to protect the ball.
Well, dare I say it, Jason, you were rather proficient at that yourself in your career. It's a very
Mate, I couldn't jump over a jam tin. His vertical leap there was very, very good.
A short memory, mate, but nonetheless, he's a better than even odds chance, I'd say, from here. He's a pretty good striker of the ball, Wayne.
Yeah, but a difficult pocket, particularly if the wind is favouring the end to which Melbourne is kicking.
We'll see how he goes. Looking over the shoulder. Oh, he just measured it magnificently. Great goal.
Ali finds true love twice. So there's twice the danger.
You're double booked.
Ali! And a wicked twist.
No, bad girl. No.
7's all-new Ali, Monday.
Monday.
How could you still be doing drugs?
In the practice.
You're asking me to conspire with you to keep her in jail?
Until the baby is born.
She's damned if he doesn't.
You're gonna wind up dead.
Will he be damned if he does? Monday.
Well, maybe Wayne Campbell might have a role to play as a forward in amongst the rotations for the Tigers this year. Another poor bounce in the middle, going outside the big circle. Woden taking it away, thrusting it forward. Green and Leoncelli hitting the ball pretty hard, and as was David Burke. And the ball over the line and out of bounds.
You talk about Wayne Campbell playing up forward, Hutto. The game's just developed to such an extent. There's so few, if any, players now that will play an entire game on the ball.
Young Steinford coming on the ground for Richmond in the meantime. Woden over the top. Gaspar, Tivendale all fighting for it for Richmond. Young Broadbridge, number 20 for Melbourne, we see in there. Free kick going Richmond's way to Tivendale. Trying to find some space for himself. Dangerous kick. Broadbridge had the chance, applied the tackle on Campbell, but they'll get away. Cameron linking the handball through. Clinton King through the centre. Good kick too. Rogers up the ground, quick to lay it off. Daffy ignored the handball, went for the kick instead. Well done by Nicholson. Here's Pettifer though, late on the scene. Thrust to the ground, looking for a free. Doesn't get it. Nicholson down there, doing a pretty good job. Wheatley, sold his teammate into all sorts of trouble, young Broadbridge, and Daffy kicks out on the full.
Daffy just had to give that kick coming to the forward line more air, didn't he? Just kicked to the favourite side. It was a bit flat and gave Nicholson a chance, and that's all he needed to eventually force the ball over the line for a boundary throw-in.
So 10-11 playing 6-10 here at Optus Oval.
Woden already with an amazing 10 possessions this quarter, 11 for the game.
He's come to life, hasn't he?
Well, he's lifted his rating a bit, that's for sure.
A win here for Richmond would certainly open this group up with Hawthorn and Fremantle to play tonight. The Hawks with a win behind them. This would give both of these two 1-1 if the Tigers were to hang on here. And they're attacking well. Otten's not able to take it that time. Kicked off the ground beams. Here's Matthew Knights. Looked for support. Gets it with Chaffee, but he's running the wrong way still. Decided to kick, and well, in the end, it does the job for him. Zilla setting it up again, looking for Rottens, who's lurking. Got about 4 to beat. One of them, Pitt, waiting down. Broadbridge back to Pitt. Very low kick, dangerous one. It was right along the ground. Bruce, Wheatley, back to Bruce. Starting to run through the middle. Wheatley, handball. They're just over-possessing it, really, the Demons. And the Tigers can win it. Clinton King off the left, going very wide to Knights. I'm sure will go longer. No, he doesn't. We had 2 options in short. One of them, this man, Tivendale, usually uses it better than that. Nicholson brushing off the tackle. Quickly, Woden got the handball. Young Broadbridge let it go through to Williams. They're still under fierce pressure. Richmond bearing down. King, Campbell, standing start, kicks another goal, and the Tigers are really hot now.
It's a mistake anyone could make.
Got in a drunken brawl, defending his wife, and he killed a guy.
No. His time is served. He's taking the first plane home.
Today's flight is a special one.
Alongside the world's deadliest criminals.
What happened?
They got the plane.
Welcome to Con Air.
Buckle up for TV's biggest blockbuster.
Shoot it down. There are innocent people up there.
Nicolas Cage, John Cusack, and John Malkovich. Con Air tonight on 7.
Shane Woden. Richmond have kicked 6 of the last 8 goals in the game. And Woden, unfortunately, has contributed to a couple of them. Here's Bowden coming through.
Oh, great work, King.
Tivendale emerging with it. Pettifer just propping there, allowing the leading Rogers. Couldn't take it. Well done, though, by Ward. Demons need to get a couple of goals. Well, at least one. They've only got a minute to do it. Maybe Williams can help create something. Leoncelli getting the handball back. Simmons' kick was good. And that's a good long lead from Green. And we've seen him kick goals from here. Yep. Directly in front, sometimes or almost directly in front from 45 to 50. Not always the easiest shot at goal, but we've seen Green not only kick goals from here, but really split the middle.
Gee, Troy Simmons was good for a big bloke, a ruckman, to just turn onto his left foot, which is his natural foot, and hit a target. There's very few ruckmen that are that adept at foot skills. Well, we're not having a go at the big men though, Fish. But
no, you're quite right. They don't actually get many opportunities, but more and more ruckmen. Green comes in.
Well, pumped up his kicking before, and he's done the job just.
You're right, Jace. Ruckmen don't often get the opportunities like that, but guys of the athleticism of Simmons and White, they're more and more often used as linkmen in the game of footy, and well, you've got to work to their strengths, and they're certainly mobile enough and quick enough, and obviously well skilled enough to be damaging. Good finish, good grab, strong on the chest, and a good kick for goal.
Well, Neil Danaher, interesting to see his tactics here in the last quarter with his side 25 points down. I wonder how much emphasis he's placing on the Ansett Cup, and whether he'll try all out to win or just continue whatever his pre-match plans were with rotations and so forth. Bitterscombe off half-back, going wide, so Tigers didn't have time to score. But at three-quarter time, they've got a very handy lead with a bit of breeze to bring them home. 11-11-77, playing 7-10-52.
He always looks relaxed. You mentioned Neil Danaher, even though the side's down by 4 goals or so. Look, he's not going to panic. They'll stick to their game plan and just hope that they can come home with a wet towel in the last quarter.
Well, it certainly is over to the players now, and we're back shortly to go into the last quarter. Richmond with the ascendancy, round 2, Ansett Cup.
This news update is brought to you by the Commonwealth Bank. Make it happen.
In 7 News at 6, workmen raced the clock to repair the Burnley Tunnel in time for tomorrow's peak hour. A drag racer critically injured in a high-speed crash in New South Wales, and an apprentice jockey killed in a horrific race accident at Benalla. Angry clashes as protesters rally to clean up St Kilda's streets, a cry for freedom from Maribyrnong Detention Centre, and the long arm of the law extends a public welcome.
That's it. You're gone. All right? I'm going to send the dogs home. That's what I'm going to... I will. I will. Get out. Okay. Dogs homes. Okay. Come on. Give me the stickers. Give me the stickers. Drop it. Come on. Drop it. Drop it. Let go. Hey!
G'day. If you want new tyres fitted while you wait, just call 132381. Bow Repairs.
Get back to work, Dave.
Pro's top deals on tyres. Call 132381. That's 132381.
These are the rules of the game. Now with only 6 aside, cricket's never been so fast. Registrations close next Sunday, so grab your friends and form a team. Action Indoor Sports, where actions speak louder than words.
Thank you very much.
Okay. With Telstra Options, you can now get 25 to 50% off calls between your Telstra home phone and family mobiles when you combine them all on a single bill. Ask us about this tempting offer.
Richmond proving that form lines in football, particularly this time of year, can be pretty fickle. As we see after last week, a not impressive display, but coming out today and currently leading Melbourne, 11-11-77, Melbourne 7-10-52. As we have a look at the goal kickers, Jason, and nothing outstanding, but Wayne Campbell proving a handful.
He's done it all over the ground. He's won a number of possessions. He's been pretty good, basically 19 touches to date and 3 goals to his name, and David Neate's the only multiple goal scorer for the Demons.
Well, there we go. There's the coach of the Carlton team.
They're always working, aren't they? I mean, the Blues aren't even in the same group as Richmond or Melbourne, but he may be sussing out a possible semi-final opponent or even an early opponent in the premiership season.
I could have sworn I saw the coach of the Box Hill Hawks, Donald McDonald, sitting next to Wayne there. So it's good to see coaches from rival clubs mingling and mixing and
Donald
sharing
might
notes.
just be milking him for a few ideas, do you think?
And why wouldn't he? Well, it's you'd like to think it'd be better set up for the last quarter. That Melbourne, being a very fit side, could get themselves well and truly back into the contest. They're only 4 goals out of it at the moment, so it's not out of the question. But Richmond really are showing, or proving to be the strongest side of the day so far.
They started to work their way back into it early in the third quarter, the Demons, but I think the last 15 minutes of the third quarter, Richmond reasserted their authority in the centre square and around the takeaways. Their on-ball contingent was just far too strong for the Demons, and in the end, it was just weight of numbers. The ball was coming into their attacking 50 that often. They had to score in the end, and that just made it very difficult. If we assume that Dipper knows his meteorology science, I mean, he did tell us the breeze was favouring the Legend stand end, which the Demons had use of in that quarter, so it'll favour the Tigers in the last quarter. It's hard to see them. They're going to have to kick, well, you'd think 6 goals to win, and they've only kicked 7 for the match. Yeah, it's unlikely. They just haven't looked, the thrust forward haven't been done with a great deal of assuredness. I mean, it's just a bit disjointed coming forward. They've had a few options down there neat at times. Certainly Simmons and White have been changing. Quality of ball coming into the forward line hasn't been great. Yeah. So it doesn't help. But Richmond have certainly had more control as they approach their forward 50 and have been able to maybe spot up. And if they haven't spotted up, they've done the discipline thing. Kick it to the hot spot, top of the goal square. We're going into the boundary line now and join Dipper, and he's got a special guest, Chris Fagan.
Yeah, thanks very much, Paul. We're just a little bit inconsistent up the forward line. You just can't get a quarter going at the moment.
Yeah, a little bit. Probably overused the ball a little bit, Dipper, and we just need to keep it a little bit more simpler. Get it in there quicker. We're getting in there a little bit slow and allowing Richmond to flood back into our forward line, which makes it hard for the forwards, as we know.
He used Liam Shelley and Woden off the bench. The boys obviously started. That was the plan before the game.
Yeah, well, this is his first game, and Chell only played half a game last week, so we're just gradually easing them into it. But they're in the fray now, and we really need them to give us a big last quarter.
And some of the young boys playing the reserves as well and playing off the bench as well.
Yeah, we had 3 blokes playing in the reserves game. We just wanted to make sure they got plenty of a run today. So young Broadbridge and Thompson and Clark all played in the 2s for a half, and we've promoted them up for the senior game.
Well, thanks for joining us, and good luck this last quarter, Chris. Good on you, mate.
Good on you, Dipper, and spare us from blowing another footy up for the time being, would you, mate? But it's very interesting what Chris Fagan had to say there, and they have been overusing the ball a little bit coming forward, but as we prepare for the final quarter, Melbourne are certainly going to have to pull something out of the bag to get themselves back in with a chance to win this game.
11-11 to 7-10. Umpire watching closely the movements of Hall and Simmons in the ruck. He's got away with it all day.
He can't do it. It's not wrestling, I know, but...
And Simmons it was that got the tap, but Bowden has been pretty handy for them today. 19 possessions from Bowden. That was his 20th. King taking the mark. King going very wide from behind. Haynes over the top now with a defensive role, with Wheatley playing in front there, taking the mark. So Wheatley, a very low kick.
It's a beauty, though.
It was well placed, as it turned out. Gaspar coming through, just overrunning it. King, who's got better as the match has gone on. Good little work there with Campbell, getting it back and emerging with it and getting it to Cameron, someone who usually has penetration as well as accuracy. Tivendale, quick to get onto his left, and he pokes it out, gives space for Ottens. Right there with him, Nicholson, who's worked very closely with him. It was tight and tough on the boundary for Rogers, and it's out of bounds.
Well, Tivendale just could have set that up a little bit better for Ottens, put it out in front of him, and actually gave Nicholson every chance of spoiling that contest.
So margin at 25 at the moment. Knights streaming through. Phoebe. Ottens over the top. Nathan Brown escaping with it when everyone thought the contest was going to have to be ended with a bounce. Simmons versus Hall. Simmons from Williams might end up with it, does, but he was outnumbered there, and Hall taking it away pretty easily in the end. His kick, though, not very good at all. Phoebe over the ball. Could have got a free kick, now he will. Advantage paid, yes.
Troy Simmons hobbling pretty badly on the sideline too. He injured himself after chasing Ray Hall there.
Robertson not able to complete that mark. And we look at Simmons.
He's in a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
You hate seeing that.
He's important for Melbourne too. They could ill afford to lose him. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but for too long.
Yes, well, we've seen them really mix him and Jeff White up today, and of course
pretty good combination, isn't it?
And Nicholson can also play in the ruck, but they seem to be pretty keen on Nicholson as a fullback or at least a key defender of some sort. 11-11 playing 7-10. Melbourne need to get the first goal to get back in this game in the last quarter.
I've been surprised at young Ray Hall's strength in the contest today. I would have thought at the start of the game that you'd give Jeff White the edge there, but young Hall's been very good.
Hall played his only senior AFL game in a memorable match. That last round of 1999 against Carlton at the MCG, the night the MCG fire. The scoreboard fire.
Gee, you remember that one well, wouldn't you?
As your
first game. How could you forget it? I remember calling that game. It was one of the most extraordinary things I've ever seen. Started as a bit of smoke and then looked like towering inferno half an hour later.
Yeah. So 70 metres out from goal. Knights working it through, working it pretty well towards the boundary line.
Just on that point with the two ruckmen, I just think Jeff would help his cause a lot if he took front position. He's probably backing his height and his strength in a bit too much. And I mean, you never want to give a sucker an even break, and certainly Hall's not a regular ruckman, so...
Well, I guess a lot of the time he will relinquish front position because he wants to run and have a leap at the ball, because that's his strength.
Well, he can add another string to his bow.
Now's the chance for the Demons.
Warren's in trouble, boys. Just down here, he's looking towards the bench. It's like a smack in the head there.
They always sting of it this time of year too.
I actually heard it from the boundary line, so it was a pretty decent hit. So
bit of a slap to the eye.
25 points the difference. Melbourne bearing down, but Gaspar, who's had a very interesting duel with Neitz for the day, gets it to the wing. Neitz has had 9 possessions, 2 marks and 2 goals. Gaspar 8 possessions and 4 marks, so very even. White sending it very high into the forward line. Neitz just jumped pretty early, and Gaspar stood the ground, takes the mark. Short kick on out to David Burke, who has got a fair bit of space to work in. Once he's made that first bounce, though, can often make it more difficult for the players up the field. And that time the kick bouncing a long way out, and Ottens in the end had to go to the boundary line, and he looks just a little uncomfortable about that.
Just on Simmons there, boys. He just jarred his knee. Just precautionary, just taking him off. He won't be back on. And Woden, they're just checking out what's wrong with him. What is exactly wrong with him?
Dr. Dipper. 11-11 to 7-10.
Good news for Troy Simmons then.
Knights trying to impose himself on that contest. Brown did instead, though. Robertson just beautifully done with the body, keeping Bitterscombe away. And then poking it to Brown, who kept on running, and he's been a bit of a player for them today, Nathan Brown. 14 possessions as he goes off. Put the foot in the back. The umpire let it play on, and he'll kick a goal.
Well,
up to 70,000 thoughts every day. Eyes which can differentiate between 10 million different colors. Hearing that detects frequencies between 20 and 20,000 hertz. And 656 muscles, 17 of which are moving when he smiles. When we develop digital technology, we know who it's for. LG, life's good.
Well, Chaffee was the man who went to ground after that leap from Farmer, but in fairness to Farmer, it was a collision really between the two Richmond players, as much as Farmer putting the foot up.
Yeah, well, hasn't he closed up? It looks like he's gone 12 rounds with Mike Tyson at the moment, doesn't he? Look, I'm not suggesting that Farmer did anything wrong. He did it very, very well. It's just that he was in the worst position of the three, but he made a good contest, and in doing so took his two opponents out of play, but his balance was just unbelievable.
Well, Chappie's in a bit of trouble. He's going to come off. And important for the Demons fans, Melbourne are back in a big chance here.
The fact that you can just see him, he gets ran into the back of the head of Andrew Callaway by the looks of it. Now, the fact that the stretcher actually came out on the ground, he can't come back on.
Yep.
Well, it's a certain period of time, but is it for the rest of the quarter?
I think so.
I'll find out for you, boys.
It's been a long summer.
Oh, thanks, Dipper.
I've forgotten some of the rules.
Well,
but
fortunately, we haven't seen the stretcher used too often this early in the season.
11-11 playing 8-10. And that time did pretty well with White keeping Hall clear of the play and able to get the ball down. But still, it's the Tigers and King, who's been one of a hard-working band of midfielders for the Tigers. There's Mills, who've had a pretty good day. Brown for Melbourne, tried to hook it back towards Bruce, but he doesn't get there. Bowden outmarking Thompson, and Scott Thompson for the Demons. High one to centre half forward. Broadbridge flew, he missed it completely, so did his lookalike in there. Walsh, Wheatley takes it, tried to charge through and beat the lot, couldn't. Knights stretched out the handball. Bowden swings onto his left. Tiger on his own in the goal square, can take the mark and stroll in, and it's Haynes who puts it through.
Every year, there are over 2,400 deaths or injuries in residential streets across Victoria. So the speed limit is now 50 kilometres per hour. There's a damn good reason to stick to it.
Well, that goal will really sting.
That's lovely, Hutto. And
well, it will. 12-11 to 8-10, that's going to make it extremely difficult.
Yep, they've got the answers at the moment, the Tigers.
King. Bowden. Well-placed kick. And they've got the momentum, they've got everything going for them at the moment. And Walsh able to chop it off across half-back and quickly get the Demons moving out of defence. Again, though, not the greatest at disposal then from Brown. Bitterscombe under pressure from Bruce. Neats, Robertson trying to break clear and break through. White in there as well. Brown up the ground. Oh, he got, well, I'm not sure if it was high or not. No, it wasn't high, said the umpire. Bitterscombe rewarded. Interested to look as to where the initial contact was there, but Bitterscombe did well. Let's have a look.
I thought it was a good decision.
Well,
he tried to sell it. Got low enough there, I think, Bitterscombe.
Low kick from King around the boundary line, and that's okay. Tivendale, 13 possessions. Hall, oh, fumbled that time. Farmer was charging through, creating something for the Demons. He did. Robertson knocked it clear. Liancelli, now Godfrey as they build up through the middle. Delivery was better than my delivery, but Gasper takes the mark. It wasn't great. Hilton clearing to half back. Has lots of Tigers running free. One of them out wide is Knights. Further on is Campbell on his own. Knights deciding to find Campbell. 65 from goal. Haynes is backing back in the square. Loose Tigers everywhere, pushing down Mills, and he takes the mark within scoring range. Well, the Demons would be very disappointed.
He had options everywhere, Wayne Campbell. He had David Burke, who'd run all the way down from defence if he had have squared the ball up, but in the end he just waited for Mills to run into space. Patient use of the foot. He knew there was space to run into, and Mills will have a set shot from about 45 metres out on a reasonably tight angle.
Jerry suggested, but this could be another nail. Probably the final nail. Well, he's drifted across the face of goals and out in the full.
Disappointing result.
Well, it's kept the Demons alive, but it's not just a matter of staying alive. They need to string together a couple of goals, and they need to do it very, very quickly.
Nicholson looking for White, and over the line and out of bounds. Dippo, just to remind us about that rule.
Yeah, if the stretcher comes out and the player doesn't go on the stretcher, he's got to stay off the ground for 20 minutes. So
that effectively ruled him out
20
for the
minutes.
quarter. Yep.
83 to 58.
Thanks, Dipper. No worries, Hutto.
Thanks.
I appreciate it, Dipper.
Thanks, Robert, for your tireless work this afternoon on the boundary. Thompson did well, young fellow, and Involved again with Brown and Bruce.
Oh, beautiful kick.
It was a good kick to Neitz. He's got Robertson running past him. Pretty open forward line. Very open forward line. Charging out on the lead. He got buried down there, Green. And some heavy work off the ball too from Burke, allowing Callaway and now Cameron to run away. Oh, dangerous kick. Really set up Campbell. Ward over the top. Farmer. Through he goes again. Too high. Free kick to Jeff Farmer. And he can line it up for his third. And there is always something happening when Jeff Farmer is near the footy.
Gee, Leon Cameron put his head between his knees there for a moment and give himself a little bit of a whack to the head. He said, I can't believe I chipped the ball up high like that back into the danger zone. But Jeff Farmer, he just approached that ball in a savage fashion. He was single-minded. He said, I'm taking this on and no one's going to stop me.
He does, but he rolls the dice, doesn't he, a bit? Because it can go either way. I mean, he drew the free kick there, but you know, but he's a forward, and his job's to be creative and make something out of nothing. And who does it better? He backs his ability to make something out of nothing, Paul, and I would back him on most occasions as well.
Well, this will be his 16th possession for the day. 2 goals, 1. Not the greatest of kicks, but it's a goal.
Ansett's new e-check-in is the quick and easy way to grab your boarding pass. You can even choose where you sit. Or where you don't. It's another first from Ansett.
A growing injury list there on for the Demons. Lee and Chally and Woden.
And Simmons with his...
That looks shocking, that eye, doesn't it?
Ankle iced up there.
12-11 to 9-10. White doing the ruck work. Ziller on the bottom. White goes in again. Paul Handball went straight to Tivendale, who with the breeze kicks it right almost to the square. But gee, Nicholson's done a pretty good job down there on Ottens. Ottens has taken 4 marks and kicked 1 goal 1. Well, that kick didn't clear very far. Knights, Broadbridge bearing down. Knights used his experience there and lovely little hands. Cameron, low kick, wasn't a good one for Ottens. Nicholson judged it easily. It just wasn't a good kick. And made it very difficult for Brad Ottens. Bruce takes the Walsh kick, played on straight away, looking to get things moving. Robertson across half forward, took that one pretty easily. Gave it to Jeff White, off the left. Farmer again from the side. This time is bodied out of it by Burke, but he kept on going. Uze will punch it away, gets it down again. Yeah, tough in there for anything constructive for the Demons. And in the end, Bowden able to get it towards the line. Good hands out to Mills. King can run on with it for the Tigers. 21 possessions for Clinton King. Handball, Tivendale on his wrong boot, but he kicked it not too badly. Daffy didn't try and go long for goal. Instead, he went for Knights. Brown back with the flight. Didn't give away a free kick. Umpire had the whistle to the mouth, but didn't pay it. Haynes, standing start, might have a shot. Should have perhaps passed the ball into Rogers.
He was pleading for it, Matthew Rogers. Again, he'd ducked back from the contest all on his own, but unfortunately, Haynes just didn't catch him there in space.
Well, you'd rarely get an opportunity like that. Haynes was in traffic there and was always going to be hard. It'd take maybe a Greg Williams to spot that one.
So the margin stands at 20 points. 7 minutes remaining. White leaping high. Robertson just done a couple of nice things in the last few minutes. Cameron, an extra man back for the Tigers. Gasper uses Cameron. Young Clark tries to apply the tackle. But again, it's Richmond going forward. Daffy's handball to Mills. Mills looks up. Plenty of Tigers calling for it. They're leading back towards the goals, which sometimes can make it more difficult. But there was space behind to kick it into. Importantly, Rogers taking the mark. And a tight angle for him here, but he will certainly seal the game if he kicks the goal.
Interesting to see whether he goes for the straight drop punt or if he runs out to improve the angle and kicks the ball around the corner.
2 goals, 2.
Well, he's run around.
For Rogers, and he finds the middle almost comfortably on that occasion.
Wednesday.
We've only got 4 minutes left.
And this is for $10,000.
It's a game of strategy.
Don't trust me!
It's a game of deceit.
I thought I did all right.
But can you play well enough to uncover who amongst them wants every mission to fail? The intrigue has only just begun. Wednesday, 7:30 on 7. You are part of the game. The Mob.
Who is the traitor?
So 13-12 to 9-10. Just under 6 minutes remaining. Demons just about gone. White again trying to give them first use. Beams unable to run onto it. Hall involved there. Cameron, he's had a pretty good day in the end for Richmond. 17th possession coming up. And he gets it clear too and kicks it very well. Running with it, Tivendale. If he had picked it up cleanly then he was within range. Still might be into the goal square. Otton's this time in good position. Should mark. Didn't quite. Nicholson, though, interfered. He's paid the mark, I think.
No, I think he paid a push in the end. He signalled he was pushed as he was attempting the mark.
Well, he's done the right thing there. He's stood his ground. He's kept his eyes on the ball. He's gone for the mark. Knew there'd be interference and rode it well, and he's been rewarded for his efforts there.
He landed pretty solidly. Put him off balance. There's nothing worse than being thrown off balance when you've actually leapt up for the ball and you know you're going to land flat on the side or the back, and nothing you can do about it.
No, and it's tough for the defender too in that situation. I mean, you've got to take a part of the body to spoil the mark. By doing that, I suppose the only thing you can do is try and keep your eyes on the ball.
That's
put
the key to
it. The mind of the umpire.
Yep. Played primarily as a forward today. Brad Otton's taken some of the centre bounces particularly early, and has taken 5 marks, 8 possessions. And so far 1 goal, 1, but that's about to change and become, well, you would think 2 goals, 1.
He's happy?
Yes.
They have snuck a few in at both ends today. We've seen the goal umpire running very, very quickly from one side to the other, and it gives you the impression that they've actually missed a simple one, but that's not the case. It was a great hold-up. It was actually Leon Cameron who started that all at half-back. He had a couple of bounces, eluded an opponent, changed back onto the right boot, found Tivendale in space, who, after fumbling initially, then drove the ball long to Ottens. I enjoy watching someone like Leon Cameron as he leaves the defence. No matter which side of the body he's on, he's one of very few players in the competition where you actually can't tell from just looking at him whether he's a natural left or right footer. They're just so naturally adept on both sides of the body.
And hasn't Tivendale been effective with his disposals today? Been very impressive off the boot.
14-12 to 9-10. And Hall and White again were wrestling. Here he is again, Tivendale, weaving his way through that left, but the kick not so good. Pitt getting back into defence.
Started in attack earlier on, spent some time on the bench.
Just knows it's Broderick on the ground. He hasn't touched the ball. Is this the first time he's been on,
yep.
Dipper? Yes, it is. Thanks, Dipper. Wheatley goes to centre-half forward, Neats in front. Can't take it. At the back, Callaway. Campbell. Brown bearing down and got there to make the spoil. Bitterscombe, Daffy. Knights. Better build up now by the Tigers as they stream forward. Daffy Zilla in fact, just couldn't drag it in. This is Thompson. And he measures it off pretty well.
Sorry, boys, you asked a question, did you?
No, it's all right, Dipper. Uze goes long, up to full forward. Neats from behind. Cameron. Handballing towards the line. Green can't quite keep it in. Bitterscombe happy to see it go out.
Well, it's all about how Melbourne can finish off this game now, Jason.
Yes, Broderick's... to answer that question, boys, Broderick's been on a couple of times today, so that was his first touch, I suppose. Is that what you're saying?
He actually hasn't touched it yet, but we're just questioning whether he'd been on or not. And we're still questioning it, to be honest.
Twice. He's been on twice. Once in the first half and once now.
Once for the quarter-time huddle and once for the three-quarter-time huddle, I think, Dipper.
So 14-12 plays 9-10. 3 minutes, 20 seconds remaining. Clinton King having a rest for the Tigers. He's had 21 possessions, Bowden 14 possessions, Cameron 18, Daffy 17, and Campbell 24. So they've had plenty of players that have got amongst it. Tivendale 19 and Matty Knight's 21. Well, for the Demons, Williams has had 20 possessions. Uze 11, Beams 10, Brown 17, Robertson 12 and Farmer 17, their highest possession winners. So certainly they've had more players that have had a fair bit more of the footy, particularly through the midfield. And as a result of that, Tigers are dominating on the scoreboard. Bowden unloads it. Ward from behind. Didn't give Rogers a free kick. Pitt, maybe his best place as defence. He seems to be going pretty well
beautiful.
back there. Well done, Brown. Little blind turn. Broadbridge to centre half forward. Right, Robertson dropping down there, trying to get it to Farmer. Instead, Green. Kick well smothered by Bitterscombe. Robertson gets another chance. Off the left. He doesn't mind having a shot, Robertson. And Beams in the goal square just waving at it, saying, well, I was here.
Yep, low percentage shot. If you really don't fancy your chances, you've got to hook the ball back into an attacking position.
Bitterscombe. Daffy. Tigers advancing again down the ground. Otten's right down there in the square, and that's where the kick goes. Oh, great mark by Walsh. Timed his jump beautifully. Using the hand to get it out of defence with Ward. Low kick. Almost gave the chance the Tigers to intercept. Bruce now. He goes long and straight down the middle. Farmer behind that time. And Leon Cameron was only seconds away from lashing out there. You got the feeling against Jeff Farmer.
You're right about him, Jace. He's very effective use of the ball, Leon, and he's been a great pickup for the Tigers since he came across to the club. So I remember Sheeds rating him as possibly the best kick in the competition in his mind a couple of years ago. So,
Ottens. Again, that's the sort of leap that Ottens is capable of.
And then stole the ball.
Hall. In the end, couldn't get clear loop. Oh, Hilton, he gets a good run at that one. 55 from goal. Gets it across.
Loose players everywhere.
Yep. Just got a little chance for an elbow in there, Daffy, just to make sure that he could get clear. Burke, fell over. Had his chance to kick a goal then, and he made a complete meal of it.
That's his shame.
It is.
A number of times he's pushed forward David Burke, and the kick was just a little bit too high for him.
Bitterscombe battling it out there with Robertson, who wins out. Trying to make amends for last time. Well, he had a pass on to Bruce, but he wants to do it on his own. He kept it low. It bounces and bounces and misses. And Uze...
They were queuing up in the middle for that one.
Yep. Just stands there with his arms out wide, saying, I was on my own yet again. 14-12 to 9-11, last minute of the match. Bowden out to the wing. Feeding Broderick. Might be his first possession, I think, Paul Broderick. Goes in short. Gaspar down to full forward. Pettifer, did he get a free for that? No. Walsh towards the line. And it's over and out.
Well, for most part of the game, you wouldn't have anticipated a 5-goal deficit at the end of it, but credit to the Tigers, the way they've gone about it today, and still running with plenty of wind in their sails this stage, late stage of the game.
Defies the very poor Ansett Cup record that we looked at prior to the match, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and it's good to see they've got one on the board.
Well, last chance here to add to their total for the day, and that is not a bad effort from Zilla. He's just missed. Percentage could well come into it in this group too, with one win each now for Melbourne and Richmond, depending on what happens to Hawthorn against Fremantle tonight. If Fremantle were to get up, then it'll be one win all.
It makes the last round more than interesting, doesn't it? Because it is all about percentage then.
Yes, absolutely. Walsh judging it beautifully. And that ends the match. Richmond, their first victory for the year in the Ansett Cup. And a convincing one it was in the end. Both sides missing key players. Schwartz not playing for Melbourne today. Tigers, of course, still without Richardson and Gale. A few injuries for Melbourne, Woden one of them, Simmons another, but Richmond prevailing 14-13-97 to 9-11-65.
A very good crowd at Optus Oval, plenty of yellow and black flags celebrating now. That was a very impressive performance, as we mentioned prior to the match. An extremely poor Ansett Cup record in recent times, but they've certainly put that to bed with an impressive victory over the Demons.
Yeah, there's no doubt they needed the win today, not for a lot of reasons, not the least of which was membership, not the least of which is because their Ansett Cup record has been reasonably poor, but a lot of hope for the Richmond fans out there. We'll be back shortly after the break to wrap up what's been a very good day of football.
Ali finds true love twice. So there's twice the danger.
You're double booked. Ali!
And a wicked twist.
No, bad girl, no.
7's all-new Ali, Monday.
Here's a healthy snack your kids will actually want to eat. Today, Brand Power looks at Yoplait Go-Gurt, real fruit yoghurt in tubes. Unlike most other kids' yoghurts, there's no messy spoon. Just tear the top off and eat. They can be frozen so they're ready to eat at school lunchtime, and they're available in 4 great flavours: strawberry, fruit salad, apricot and raspberry. For a delicious and convenient snack kids love, look for Yoplait Go-Gurt in your supermarket dairy case now. Brand Power, helping you buy better.
If you need a second phone connected to your home, call Orange now and you'll have a second phone for your home in just 2 days. Connection's free. So call now on 133 188.
How would you like to pay just 4.99% per annum interest on your home loan? That's what you can get right now at the National. Fixed for 6 months. This offer is for a limited time only, so hurry. To apply, call 13 13 12.
Nathan! What? Turn it off!
This is the musical about a wedding. And this is the reception it gets every night. This is Mamma Mia, Benny Andersson and Bjorn Ulvaeus' hot new musical, featuring 22 of ABBA's greatest hits woven into a funny and infectious love story. Mamma Mia opens in June at the Princess Theatre. Tickets are now on sale at Ticketek.
To survive in the wide open spaces, you need a real four-wheel drive. The new Kia Sportage.
Look at the clearance. It's got a real tough chassis and a dual-range gearbox. It'll take you anywhere.
Inside it's got everything. Out back, there's even more. It carries all I need to survive.
The new 2-litre Kia Sportage at $25,990.
Bush Ducker. With cars, it's personal.
They've all chosen their perfect dates.
It's not a game anymore.
This is the episode where things really start to happen.
I don't think you want to watch the rest of that. I have to play the rest of the clip.
Temptation Island, Tuesday, 9:30.
Yep, get it out, belt it out.
We're from Tigerland. We never win until the final siren's gone. Like the Tigers of old, we're strong and we're bold.
A much-deserved win by the Tigers there, and they certainly enjoyed it. Full voice. The final scores here at Optus Oval from this round 2 Ansett Cup fixture. Richmond 14-13-97 have beaten the Demons 9-11-65. And a very good win it was for the Demons today as... for the Tigers today after their poor form from last week. So I'll be pretty happy with that. We have Dipper down in the rooms with, I believe, Wayne Campbell.
I certainly have the new captain of the Richmond Tigers out here with Wayne Campbell. Terrific win, mate. But what's going on? 3 goals. You're jumping like a young boy. Hey, this captaincy must mean a lot to you.
Still only a young bloke, but only 28. You know, it's the prime of your career, isn't it? You were only just reaching your prime at that stage.
That's true, yeah.
No, it was good. It was a good win by the boys.
Now, just tell us back to the pre-season. Everyone looks very fit. And as Paul Salmon mentioned, the game was finished full of running.
Yeah, last week, unfortunately, we didn't do that. We had a pretty good first half against the Hawks, but then they overran us, and something that we thought we were pretty strong with our fitness, because we've certainly had a massive pre-season with running and everything, so we just really wanted to finish it off today, and I think the boys did.
Wayne, Jason Dunsell here. It looked like there was a bit of aggression out on the ground, particularly from yourself. I don't know whether that's something you're doing as the captain or whether you just were getting a few niggles from your opponents, but you looked in a rather aggressive mood, and a little bit of attention paid to a few of your opponents today.
I didn't really notice that, Jason, I suppose, but I think last week we probably didn't go as hard at the ball as what we would have liked, so we certainly had a theme of that this week, and I think at half-time the hard ball gets her up, so I hope for the whole game they were like that as well.
Wayne, Jason was admiring your vertical leap today, mate, and you had a few chances up forward, and you converted a few times. You'd be happy with your forward work today?
Yeah, the leap was all right. Unfortunately, the ball hit me in the head a couple of times. I couldn't quite keep it in my hands, but no, it was good. Dave Whedon's been on to me to kick a few more goals, so luckily today a few went through the middle, so it was quite good.
Wayne, a lot's been said about the change of captaincy at Richmond, and I thought Matthew Knights, again, very impressive today. He's obviously been full of support for that change.
Yeah, he's just he's probably as fit as he's been for the last 4 or 5 years. Certainly had a massive pre-season running and everything like that, so he's just going to be handy for us wherever he plays, midfield or forward or back. He can play sort of anyway, so he had a really good game again today.
Wayne, we were at, provoked some discussion today, the centre bounce tactics employed by Richmond. Bit of work put in during the week on those, and what were your thoughts? Because you're in there a bit today.
Yeah, I think coming up against Jeff White, because he's such a big leaper and certainly such a great player, an All-Australian ruckman at certain stages, so we had to try and combat that, and obviously we had Brendan Gale out, and so Ray Hall playing his first game did a fantastic job in negating him, I think.
You just mentioned Hall, his first half was terrific. Just tell us a little bit about him.
From Canberra, up Canberra way, been here for a couple of years and played his first game, the last game of the 1999 season, I think, and didn't play any senior games last year, but yeah, it looks like he's certainly super fit, and so that sort of role suits him. He's really, really fit for his size. So,
Well, it's always nice to catch up with you, Wayne, over in Ireland or here in Australia, but well done, and continue on good success.
Good on you, mate.
Thanks very much, Dipper, and a very happy Wayne Campbell, and justifiably so, Jason. He had a good day.
Entitled to be happy. I mean, we did highlight the poor Ansett Cup record, so I think Danny Farrell would be pretty pleased to have that one under his belt.
Certainly should be, and as the boys stretch down, we might do the same. After the break, we'll catch you for the final wrap-up of what's been a good day at the footy.
Early Settlers' huge new range of recycled timber furniture has the features, the style and the built-in value you're looking for. Beautiful furniture that takes the knocks of everyday living at surprising prices. Early Settler, when you care for wood, it shows.
I'm not a big fan of these cafes that you go to where you ask for a cup of tea and they give you the ingredients for a cup of tea. They give you a teapot, a tea bag, some hot water and a cup. You go, no, that's not what I want. I want a cup of tea. Like, you don't ask someone the number for RACV home and contents insurance and they go, oh, well, there's a couple of ones there. There's a 9, I believe, and a 5, a 3, and another 5. And you go, is that the number? And they go, no, but here's a cup of tea.
It doesn't cost $200 to connect a second phone in your home. It doesn't cost $100. It costs absolutely nothing to connect an Orange One phone in your home. Call 133 188 now.
The Universal Music Appeal presents Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi in their only Australian show, live at the Colonial Stadium March 24, with a host of special guests including Jimmy Barnes in a massive 5-hour show. Tickets for this special event just $62.60 from Ticketmaster. Bon Jovi live on sale Monday.
Did you know more people prefer the taste of canned Roma tomatoes? Today, Brand Power looks at Legina canned tomatoes. Legina use quality Italian Roma tomatoes. That's the secret to their rich red colour and succulent taste. And because they're packed in 100% tomato juice, there's no need for added sugar, salt or anything artificial. For quality Italian Roma tomatoes that make your recipes taste even better, try Legina canned tomatoes. Brand Power, helping you buy better.
At Bunnings Warehouse, we have the lowest home improvement prices every day, which means you can afford to buy more. Like 2.7 litre feed and weed, $6.30. Quell smoke alarms, 2 for $18. Rechargeable spotlight, $29.95. 4 litre Dulux wash and wear 101, $49.80. 450ml leaf and grass rake, $2.77. If you happen to find a cheaper price on a stocked item, we'll beat it by 10%.
Bunnings Warehouse.
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
They do amazing things with sunrice overseas. Now you can too with jasmine rice, one of the world rices from Sunrice. Yes, Sunrice, the rice experts.
Panadol and heron. They both do exactly the same thing. Both relieve pain. Both are gentle on the stomach. Both contain 500 milligrams of paracetamol. Both are sealed for safety. So which one do you take? The foreign-owned Panadol or the Australian-owned heron? Personally, I take the heron. That's the one to take.
Welcome back, Top to Soval, as we continue the wrap-up from a good game of footy between Richmond and Melbourne, and the final scores seeing Richmond get up 14-13, 97, Melbourne 9-11, 65, and the goal kickers there, Jason. Well, we spoke to Wayne Campbell with 3, but there was a couple of other contributors as well.
Well, we were worried before the game with the Tigers because we didn't see any natural goal-scoring ability up forward, but they manufactured a couple in Matthew Rogers and also Wayne Campbell, and of course the Wizard turned it on up forward for the Demons, didn't he?
Well, he's got a big bag of tricks, the Wiz, and as we go to the highlights of today's game, there was some pretty good disposal of the football today as well.
There was. That pass in particular from Woden was a beauty over 50 metres, and then it was topped off with an excellent conversion, again from 50 metres by David Neitz, just riding that one in on the breeze. Unfortunately, it didn't happen often enough for the Demons. Now here we see a poor turnover. The handball from Woden misses the target, and as is often the case, loose players on the rebound. The ball goes back to Matthew Rogers, and after initially thinking he was going to play on, he then does wheel around and kicks the goal.
It's something you mentioned a couple of times today, that Melbourne just lacked that penetration through the midfield. That it was a rare sight to see Woden coming through there, but a rare sight to Richmond were better in that area.
Oh, they killed them on ball. We just saw a clean tap there from Hall down to King, and again, a quick long ball, which was the pattern of play all day. They just kicked it long, and they knew where the ball was going, and there's Wayne Campbell. We saw a couple of big leaps from him today. And that wasn't a bad one.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad one. Some new faces from the Tigers. Haynes there getting the ball. And here was one where...
That's the second handball we spoke about, unfortunately, from Shane Woden. It's his first game back. Everyone's a little bit short of touch, and Wayne Campbell, you don't get it much easier than that. Standing stationary, just hooked it over the shoulder and kicked a beauty.
Yeah, and the Demons, there's some couple of new phases that they got a chance today and made the most of opportunities. They were pretty handy. Robertson saw nothing but goals a couple of times.
Yeah, he had a few opportunities. Look, he's always trying to create something, and you certainly can't criticise him for that. A couple of times perhaps could have dished off. On this occasion we see, now this is pure wizardry. He flew against two opponents, took them out. Somehow, after flying like that, he landed on his feet, spun around, grabbed the ball and ran into an open goal. That was brilliant. Good pressure all day. Matthew Knights had a very good performance. He was very impressive. Joel Bowden, one of the best men on the ground. There's the long ball in, and you can't ask for much more than that. And young Ben Haynes, who found himself in a bit of space, looks very good running into an open goal.
He certainly did. It was on the end of a couple of good ones there, but he found the opportunities for himself. Here are the match stats from the game, and Jason, well, a few more possessions to Richmond tells the story.
Yeah, Swagmore ball, 44 touches. That's the equivalent of an extra couple of players. And still the big one there, look at the indisputes, 105-79. They were just more desperate today, Richmond. They wanted the ball when it was there to be taken, and in actual fact they did that, and just highlighting their centre break efficiency, 14-9, a pretty good advantage.
Yes, they certainly took the game by the scruff of the neck in the second half. We'll take a break. Back soon.
At Bunnings Warehouse, we have the lowest home improvement prices every day, which means you can afford to buy more. Like treated pine lattice, $11.96. Outdoor floodlight, $9.98. 5-litre garden sprayer, $19.89. 23-piece combination socket set, $49.96. Pack of 12 glass tumblers, $8. If you happen to find a cheaper price on a stocked item, we'll beat it by 10%.
Bunnings Warehouse.
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
There's a number for RACV Insurance, 131955, and very simple on a nice big blue screen. Meanwhile, I'm stuck in behind it in this dark, damp room, and I'm scared. Let me out! I've told them about the monthly payments. I've told them about the multi-policy discount. What else do I have to do? I've said everything. Let me out! I'm scared. Please! Did you hear that? Did you hear that noise?
Did you know more people prefer the taste of canned Roma tomatoes? Today, Brand Power looks at Legina canned tomatoes. Legina use quality Italian Roma tomatoes. That's the secret to their rich red colour and succulent taste. And because they're packed in 100% tomato juice, there's no need for added sugar, salt or anything artificial. For quality Italian Roma tomatoes that make your recipes taste even better, try Legina canned tomatoes. Brand Power, helping you buy better.
Not a lot to wash, little water. Lots to wash, more water. Just like the AEG range of dishwashers, it automatically determines how much water is needed or how little. From the makers of the world's quietest dishwashers, AEG.
Because the holes in a Chuck Super Wipe don't hold dirt, you can rinse them clean time after time after time, which is why they're more hygienic than ordinary cloths. And because they're more hygienic, you can use them. Chuck Super Wipes. Cleaner, faster, smarter.
The time it takes to acquire the knowledge.
How many does it take to tango? 2.
A lifetime. Time it takes to make a potential 100 grand.
Let's play. Start the clock.
1 hour. Time it takes to go from hero to humiliation on national television.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Less than 2 minutes.
He's buckling under the pressure.
9 new players, only one will win.
Who will be the victor?
The worldwide phenomenon, The Weakest Link, Monday on 7.
Well, Richmond, eventual winners, 14-13 to 9-11, and impressively so, particularly through the second half.
Road camp. Let's go.
It's a beautiful day.
They're scared at the moment. Just laugh at him. Come on. Just laugh at him. Enjoy the experience. Inside Island.
Well, Dipper takes us inside Ireland, and it's a store in the AFL's International Test Series, and it's coming up on Saturday, March the 17th. So we'll be sitting on the edge of the seats waiting for that one.
That might be a bit of fun, that one.
Well, this is we're looking at the Group 4 ladder now, and the game today saw, 3 teams draw level on 1 win apiece, And the game tonight becomes important between Hawthorn and Fremantle. If Hawthorn win, they are in the box seat.
They do. Look, Richmond have really done Hawthorn a favour. If they can have a comprehensive win over the Dockers tonight, not that that'll happen, but if they can, that would go a long way to ensuring they make it into the semi-final. So we'll keep an interest on that, as we will next week's round 3 of the Ansett Cup. Some good clashes there. Adelaide and the Western Bulldogs over at Footy Park on Friday night. A couple of big clashes. Brisbane Lions and Carlton will be a beauty on Saturday. Also the Kangaroos and Collingwood. Wayne Carey returning there. And on Sunday, just to those Group 4 matches once again.
Yes, a very interesting round of football coming up. And, well, it's been pretty good so far. And tonight we wait with bated breath the result of the Hawthorn-Fremantle game. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Jason, for your company.
Paul.
And we'll see you again soon.
The 2001 Ansett Cup telecast. Proudly brought to you by Ansett e-Check-In, the quick and easy way to grab your boarding pass. LG, life's good. Han, Premium Light. Bunnings Warehouse, where lowest prices are just the beginning. And TAC, if you drink then drive, you're a bloody idiot.